WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and you're about to go one-on-one with Talking Taker. Holla!
All right, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker, episode 227 of our encyclopedic exploration, dig up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, the Undertaker. My name is Alex Dorio. I want to thank all you out there in the Pod Street crew for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my fellow creature of the night, my wrestling buddy. He is the Guinness World Record holder for the most times seeing the film The Dark Knight in the theater. At least as far as friends, people that I know, he's the world record holder that I know for that. Mr. Travis White. And Travis, that is relevant tonight because, you know, I feel like we've either come full circle or maybe we jumped the shark. I don't know. But after 227
like
episodes,
in Batman 66 movie when he has to fight the shark from the thing.
Nailed it. That's what we're talking about tonight. You, sir, you have made Batman a thing on this podcast, from the earliest episodes all the way through the latest ones. So many times you have brought your two worlds together. You're a huge Batman fan and a huge pro wrestling fan, and you have tied the Dark Knight into the career of the Lord of Darkness so many times on this podcast. I thought finally we should just do an entire episode talking about the many connections between the Caped Crusader and the Phenom here on Talking Taker. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to look at every film in the Batman cinematic universe, all of the Batman film legacy. We're not going to do like a whole plot summary because I imagine if you're listening to this podcast, I feel like you have a pretty good idea what all the plots of these movies are. We don't need to do that. But we're going to talk about our memories of those films, our emotions tied to those films, our feelings about those films. And then we're going to try to tie it into The Undertaker one way or another, each one of those films. Man, how excited for you are this?
Oh, I'm mega excited. I can't wait, dude. I've been chomping at the bit. Was going to go make a list of some certain things, and I was like, no, it's game time decision for certain things. I'll just see how I feel in the moment when it comes to it, because, this is I have unintentionally brought Batman into 78% of our podcast. It's not on purpose. It just happens. It's natural because it's who I am.
It's organic. That's right. And that's why it's been such a fun running joke or just a running thread throughout all these episodes. I honestly thought it was in episode 1, but I listened back to episode 1 today. There's not a Batman reference in there. There's a Gravedigger reference, the monster truck, which was a running thread through some early episodes as well. We're not going to do a Gravedigger episode unless the people want it. We could do a Gravedigger episode. What a world growing up when we used to know multiple monster trucks' names by heart.
Yeah, right?
How many kids know that these days?
No. You couldn't ask my kids who a monster truck was. They would have no idea. I knew all the monster trucks.
Of course. Yeah. But, man, what is it? What do you think it is that about the Batman and the Undertaker that brought such a connection to your brain, from even the earliest days of this podcast? Why did that form such a connection for you?
One's the Dark Knight, and one's the White Savior. No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's Farouk's words.
Not yours.
Not mine. No, I think it's just that dark, brooding, ominous, kind of mysterious thing. Plus, we'll probably talk about it later, but just like how Batman is a secret identity, and like Undertaker's almost like Mark Calloway's secret identity. It's just it's just a lot of parallels there. But I think just that the color scheme, obviously the gray and black and everything, and then it's just so again, it's just all story. Wrestling is storytelling, and a lot of Undertaker's things are very cinematic, or they're out of this world, supernatural, which parallels with comic books, so it was easy to tie in. It wasn't like I don't feel like I ever had to grasp at something to make it work. I tried to it seemed fluid to me. So
Yeah, that's right. And there's so much lore
Yes, that too.
throughout the ages, and Undertaker's career has so much of that.
Yeah.
You know, some of these storylines and characters and rivals span throughout the decades of his career. They weave in and out, whether it's Kane or even a Paul Heyman or a Brock Lesnar or even like a Vince McMahon or a Ted DiBiase even would go through these eras through villainy. You know, we'll talk about it, but you know, the rivalry with Edge was so much inspired by the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
There was the Descending from the Heavens at Survivor Series '96 in the bat suit or whatever the heck that thing was.
Yeah. Leather Daddy.
So many different eras and looks
Might
of
as
the
well have had nipples
Undertaker.
on his outfit, like
I can't believe
like
he never
Batman
did.
3.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all that. Like I said, you know, we'll talk about the movies. We're going to rank the movies even at the end. We'll see if that's even possible for Travis to do. I know
this might be the most difficult podcast for me.
I don't know what he's going to have at the bottom. I don't know how he's going to rank anything at the bottom. It may be like a 12-way tie.
It could be.
But I mean, I imagine, you know, maybe this is an instant skip for some listeners out there. Maybe you don't care at all, but I'm guessing if you're nostalgic for the career of The Undertaker, you're probably nostalgic for Batman as well. If you're anything like us, if you grew up in the same era that we did, maybe even if maybe he's not your favorite superhero, but you've probably seen 90% of Batman movies, if not all of them. You probably got some sentimental feelings towards a lot of them. So I'm hoping that a lot of people in the PSK are going to enjoy this one.
No doubt. And like kind of like a Taker, Batman's a constant. Taker was a constant WWE. Batman's always a DC property that they can always go to. Just like Vince could always go to Taker. Like you can only do so much with Superman. You can only do so much with Wonder Woman because they're just so out there and so special. Like, you know, extra special, I guess, or like, you know, supernatural. Whereas Batman is more you can just plug and play him wherever, whatever story needs to be told in DC Comics. So he's just a constant through and through. The reason they have so many reboots of it and stuff, it's not because it's bad. It's because there's endless stories to tell. You can plug and play as much as you want. Just like Taker, you can just pick him in and throw him in whatever storyline needs to have him, you know, in the WWE. So that's just extra credit for you people. that wasn't even pre-thought.
There's going to be a lot of that on this. I can't wait. That's why I'm excited to do it. But it's the 35th anniversary, man, of Batman '89, the one that started it all. As far as really kicking off the culture's obsession with Batman. You know, we'll talk about the early incarnations of Batman before that, but really Batman '89, at least for me and you, is what started all of this. And I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm not on your level, but I am a huge Batman fan, so I got a lot to say as well. But yeah, it came out in June of '89, so just like I think this past Sunday, as we're recording this, was the actual release date of it. You said, we'll talk about it here all in a little bit, but you said you actually saw it in the theater at 4 years old.
Yeah. So this, like, you know, I don't know what your first memory, how far, like, you can scientifically go back your first memory. I distinctly remember my first memory that I can, like, actually recall without seeing something on a VHS or a family video from early on. Obviously, that's an easy way to quote unquote remember stuff, but an actual memory from something that you did not visually, you know, revisit over and over again. I remember being in the theater for Batman '89, and there was a huge storm in Augusta. The power went out like quarter of the way through the movie, and like we had to just sit there and wait for it to come back on to finish the movie. And like that's like my first actual memory I can remember, like, in life. Like that's so maybe that's one reason that like Batman stands out for me too. And I actually have it on VHS. I should have grabbed it before we came in here. I actually have the original like one that I had as a kid on VHS still in box in my closet. So I have no Batman shirts, no Batman like I have some ornament maybe, but I have no Batman like shirts. I don't collect Batman stuff. I have graphic novels. But as big of a fan, you think I'd have a lot of Batman crap everywhere. But, you know, I'm not a big collector of a lot of things. So a lot of things I'm passionate about, I don't collect them. I just keep all the memories in my brain. So, but yeah.
Well, as you can see, I was as a kid. These are all my actual childhood toys. Not all of them, but some of them. I'm not in the studio tonight. I'm visiting my parents for their birthdays this week in Augusta. So actually, my childhood well, not my childhood home, but the home they moved into. But a lot of my childhood stuff is here, so I went digging before the show, and I was able to find a few of the Batman toys, and we will certainly talk about some of the toys because I figured you probably had some growing up, even if you don't have them now.
Can't wait to get into that.
And that's part of the nostalgia as well. But before we get into all that, before we really go deep on Batman and the Undertaker, Batman meets the Undertaker, as we're going to call this one, we do have to talk about modern day. We're excited to talk about this month's Undertaker sightings, and there is quite a lot to talk about this month. But want to give a shout out before we dive into that to our sponsor for this month's episode, and really they're going to be sponsoring us throughout the summer. I'm excited to talk about, there they are right there, the Cappy. It's going to be the summer of the Cappy here on Talking Taker. What the heck is the Cappy? Well, let's talk about it, man. You and I, Travis, we have been, another one of our running threads on here is we have been inviting the Undertaker to our summer barbecue for years now. We've had that open invitation, get a plate of that Schmitz family barbecue and invite him over to have a chat. And of course, as we're having a chat, we're going to have some drinks. And nothing could ruin a summer barbecue than having your drink be infested and being ruined by some bugs flying into it. Or maybe your kids are running through the barbecue, you got your drink sitting on the table, they bump into the table, your drink goes flying everywhere. Or perhaps the worst of all, your drink goes flat from sitting out there uncovered for too long. What if I told you there was something out there that could fix all of those problems with one simple tool? That, my friend, is the Cappy. The world's greatest beverage opener, beverage closer. It does it all, my friend. And you got him there. Like I said, I'm out of town, so I did not get my package in. But Travis, you got yours with your signature Dr. Pepper.
Yes, tall boy.
Tell the people how simple it is to use it and show them what it's all about.
Oh, yeah, super simple. Sorry, I have my new dog Douglas on my lap, so if you guys see that or wonder what the squeaky is, it's him.
That's also true.
It's Lord Douglas.
We got a third co-host this episode.
Yeah, so here's Cappy. For those of you who can see, it's very simple. You just take it like this. You can turn it upside down. You can actually lift the tab of your soda or whatever it is you're drinking.
That's right.
And then you turn it over. You slide Cappy on. Cappy stays right there, and then when you're ready, you just spin Cappy around after you take a sip. Voila,
Boom.
Cappy is covering the edge, which means your friends can't pick this up and assume it's available to spit their dip in, and then your friend can't bust it over your head or anything because Cappy has got it blocked.
So, only we had that.
We had
20 years ago.
Yeah, but look, then as easy as that, spin it back around.
That's right, man.
It's so good when it hits your lips.
On these 106-degree summer days, like it was in Augusta today, that soda's going to go flat in like 5 minutes or nothing, but not with the Cappy. It's got a 4.7 out of 5-star rating on Amazon, which is pretty dang hard to pull off. It's got the distinction of being an Amazon choice, and that's where you're going to find the Cappy. You're going to go to Amazon. You can do it on your computer. I got the app on my phone. I just order it in like 2 clicks on there. Just search for the Cappy on Amazon. You can get it in a 4-pack or a 12-pack, and it's super duper affordable, under $10 for that package that you got right there. You get 4 of them. So Travis, you got 3 kids. You can pop one on all their drinks, and so at summer barbecue, how helpful is that going to be?
It's going to be super helpful, especially my middle child. I mean, as soon as you open a drink, within 11 seconds, it is spilled on the ground. Bless his heart. I love him, but he spills everything. So, yeah. Fizz in, bees and bad stuff out. It says made in America, patented in America. It's almost July 4th here in America. So yeah, comes in some cool, just some good colors there, so you don't get everybody's confused. You know which kid or which spouse has which one. So yeah, I'll can't wait to keep using it. Oh, there's Douglas.
Douglas is a fan of the Cappy, and The Cappy is a small price to pay for big peace of mind for all your beverages. So we're raising the toast to the Cappy all summer long. We thank them for sponsoring them, and we hope you will go out and get them. Once again, just go to Amazon, search for the Cappy, and pick up either your 4-pack or your 12-pack of those, and it's going to keep your summer drinks fresh all summer long.
Exactly.
So, as we raise a glass, as we raise a toast to that, we're talking about The Undertaker and all of his summer activities. And man, he has been hitting the podcast circuit hard as usual on 2 of the biggest wrestling podcasts on YouTube. He did sort of a 1-for-1 on their shows with Chris Van Vliet and with Maven. They both were on the 6 Feet Under podcast, and then Taker did both of their channels. I did not have a chance to listen to the Chris Van Vliet one. I did watch a little bit of the Maven interview. I didn't finish the whole thing, but they've been getting great reviews. I've seen clips of them everywhere. Dude, how wild is it that Maven is now giving The Undertaker the rub when it comes to YouTube? What
Full
a world
circle,
we live
dude.
in.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy to think about that. All because of that drop kick,
That's right.
2 years ago.
You would have never guessed that all this time later. But I think you were able.
Huge YouTuber. It's insane. Like Maven, he accidentally fell into it too. Like he didn't mean to be as big as he is, but he is. And Taker,
he was out of the business completely.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Hawkins or Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, they ran into him. He was like a bouncer at a club. And they were like, dude, you're Maven. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And then they got him to do some stuff with their show. And then he started doing more stuff. And here he is. I really enjoy his channel. I don't watch every video, but I've liked a lot of the different ones. You can tell he just doesn't care. Like, he's not ever trying to be a wrestler again or be back in WWE. So he's just spilling stuff that you don't hear people normally talk about, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've only seen clips. I've never watched a whole entire show of his, but the clips I've seen have been great. I just have 600,000 other ones to watch. So, yeah.
But I think you did including watch some of these. You got to watch that. Got to make time for that.
But I watched the Chris Van Vliet interview with Chris Van Vliet on 6 Feet Under, and I watched Taker on Chris Van Vliet's Insight. So,
yeah, you want to give us any insight?
I can't remember specifics from each one. It's just that they were both very, very good. He had Chris Van Vliet on, and it was just interesting. Like they were just talking about Van Vliet's just very impressed with how far Taker's gone. He kept saying, like, "Can you believe you're a podcaster? Like, can you believe you're a YouTuber? Like, Undertaker's a YouTuber." And like Taker didn't want to hear that, here goes Douglas.
Got a cameo.
Hey.
From Jenny. Hey.
Bye, Douglas.
Jenny and the puppies.
That's right. Came out and grabbed your puppies and took them away from us.
Oh no! Sorry, bro.
Bad day. Sleeping in the doghouse. So yeah, he was. It's just funny because Van Vliet just kept kind of messing with him about you're a podcaster, you're a YouTuber now. So anyway, but just a lot of cool stories. Again, Van Vliet's a huge fan. He's a little bit older than you and I are, but came up during the same era that we did, watched the same stuff, and I've always enjoyed his stuff. Very, very good interview, very professional, and he's also just a big fan. But he asks stuff that's not the stuff that not everyone asks, which because he knows those guys get tired of the same questions. But having him on Taker's podcast and then vice versa, it was just very, very cool. And just again, it's just crazy to watch Mark Calloway be Mark Calloway, and that's one thing that Chris Van Vliet kept saying to him, like, "How do you feel like now?" And Taker shared a story about how he found, which I talked about on here before, but how he talked about kind of finding out during WrestleMania 41 that we just had 41
40
we just had 40
that
yeah
was 40.
it was 40 that he was going to go down and do the run in. It's like he'd kind of got the Iggy earlier in the week but wasn't sure until, and Chris Van Vliet was just like, "I just blows my mind, like you didn't like." He's like, "Yeah, it just is what it is, whatever, like I was ready for whatever." So that was just cool to confirm that. And I can't remember if it was on which podcast it was on, but somebody had asked him what his regret or something or fashion faux pas. And he confirmed that those pants from Survivor Series 2000 were in fact his. They were not they were not Papa Shango's, and he thought they would be cool. And he just super disappointed with those. And Chris Van Vliet was asking, like, can we get those in like the WWE? Can they display them or something? And he was like, nah, No, those are done.
Those
So,
have been burned to the ground.
yeah. So just another confirmation about the lore that goes on there. So
Yeah, I feel like we debunked that myth a long, long time
yeah,
ago. So it's nice to hear Taker finally dispel the rumors as
yeah,
well and confirm what we had pretty much discovered all those years ago. So
yeah.
very
But
cool.
there's some stories you guys have heard before, but some you haven't. And
Yeah.
he tells a story that you told about Paul Bearer. He was getting Paul Bearer back, and he just kept driving past all the exits or whatever, and then makes Paul pee his pants. So yeah, just cool stuff. Just a lot of good stuff. Talks about losing the streak, against Brock, and not remembering anything past like 2 p.m. that day, and just some stuff we've heard, but you can go into more detail. But yeah, I encourage you guys to watch both sets, but watch Insight and watch 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, and then with Maven, he actually did a watch along for our number one match of his entire career that we ranked, the Hell in a Cell 1997 against Shawn Michaels from Bad Blood 97. And I saw Maven's Instagram. He talked about, I don't want. He just did this big interview with Chris Van Vliet. I didn't want to do that, and then I knew he'd already did a watch along with Mick Foley for the other Hell in a Cell. So it's like, we're not going to do that. So let's do this one. And he said, as soon as he turned it on, Taker was like, oh man, I haven't seen this match in a long time. And he was like, perfect.
Yeah,
that's why we're going to watch this. So definitely, I do want to check that out. I have not had a chance to
that's cool.
yet. Also haven't had a chance to watch this, but they put a cool video up on the WWE. They have a new YouTube channel called WWE Vault, and they did a history.
I was drinking some WWE Vault right now.
Oh man, I could go for a sweet Vault. Big Vault fan over here. The history of the casket match, or his gravest casket matches. Undertaker doing like a 30-minute watch along of some casket match highlights. Man, excited to check this one out.
It was good. I watched it 1.5 speed today while I was at work. He goes through talking about both Yokozuna matches, talks about the Goldust match, talks about doesn't talk about the Shawn one, interestingly. Talks about the Mark Henry one, talks about the Big Show one.
WrestleMania.
And just he's like, well, I kind of have a history of putting really big guys in caskets. So
that's how it goes.
But it's cool because he walks into the WWE warehouse and it shows this whole, this just shelves high of his caskets. And he says on video, he goes, I've worked here for 30-something years. I've never been in the warehouse. And I was just like,
no way.
What? So I took a screenshot of him walking in and all the caskets. We'll post it on social media.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Very cool. But he shows he's like, yeah, this is
awesome.
special Goldust one. And they have all the old caskets. So it's really neat. And then I thought it was cool, too, that, and then I'm sure we mentioned this, but he got, 2 of his signature matches at WrestleMania, a casket match and Hell in a Cell, which is pretty cool to have had that opportunity. So
did not have any Armageddon Rules matches or Rest in Peace matches at WrestleMania, sadly.
Nah.
No Punjabi prisons either.
Nah. There's always time.
There's still time. You never know.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to mention, I thought, we don't want to talk too much about it, but the debut of the Wyatt Six as well, a huge topic in wrestling, not related to The Undertaker, but certainly I don't think those guys would be around if it wasn't for The Undertaker. Just what's your quick review of their debut and then of week 2, the performance? What do you think of all this stuff?
I'm all in for it. Loved it. Loved the debut. Thought it was done exceptionally well. I like the name too because that's what Bray was building toward. He had before he passed away. He talked about the Wyatt Six. Even when he was out before he got hired back, he got interviews about Wyatt Six and had stuff on his. So I know it's SICKS like the word said, but it's a nod to his original idea, which I'm glad they kept. I love that. And then this past week, as we were recording this past week, they had the interview of Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy. I thought that was done really well because I don't feel like we saw Bo Dallas. I think we saw Taylor Rotunda, which because he really got out there and they just kind of addressed are you just are you just capitalizing on your brother's legacy? And he's like, no. It was really neat. It's really well done, I think, so far. And again, I don't think I don't think they'll wrestle in the mask. I don't think they'll go the Fiend route and wrestle in the mask. I think they'll take them off and wrestle, but they'll be used sparingly. I think. I don't think they'll be on every single week, but I'm digging it. I'm all in for it, and we'll see how it plays out. So,
Yeah, no, it's been a pretty huge hit online. I was telling you in text, it's not necessarily my thing, but I can't deny the production of it, and I can't deny the response people have had to it. And people have had really huge reactions to it, and we'll see how it plays out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't always love The Fiend. I appreciated the commitment Bray Wyatt would put into it and the production of it, but I didn't think it always translated
Surely, yeah.
to my tastes, at least. Some people just absolutely adore that stuff, and I know a lot of our fans do. So maybe it's a little silly for me as an Undertaker fan, so I don't always love it, but as with most things in wrestling, you just kind of got to let it play out, and we'll see
That's the
what
thing.
happens
Yeah.
to this. I don't know I don't know how it leads to stuff in the ring, but
Right.
we shall see.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. Let's wait it out. It's just the top of the first inning right now. So
That's
we'll
true.
see what happens. So
I'm all for any gimmick that involves some VHS tapes. So let's keep that
yeah,
going.
yeah.
Speaking of VHS tapes, man, that Batman '89 tape, I don't know if it holds the record for the most VHS tapes sold, but I swear every person who was
Oh,
alive in 1989 and had a VCR probably had a copy of Batman on VHS.
do you remember what played before it when you put the VHS in?
Ooh,
Like the advertisement before it?
I can't think of it right now.
It's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
That's a Bugs Bunny
Yeah,
cartoon.
because it's
Okay.
Warner Brothers. So yeah, it's like a Bugs
Okay.
Bunny, Elmer Fudd like cartoon that would play beforehand. So
Man,
it was awesome. Yeah.
I did watch that a ton, and that was really, that was my gateway into Batman as well as that movie. But let's talk about it. Batman meets the Undertaker. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but there is actually a Batman villain known as the Undertaker. Did you know
Yeah.
this, Travis?
Yeah, he's very, very way back in the day, I believe, early
Uh,
on.
well, it's 1997 from what I found. Made
Oh, never mind.
one singular appearance in one
Oh, okay.
issue of Batman, Batman Volume 1, number 539. And his name is Peter Osteen. And he's described as a mortician in Gotham City who became overly fascinated with the subjects under his care. And he began to perform experiments on the cadavers and was about to dig up the Wayne parents' bones before
Nice.
Batman had to stop him from desecrating them. And he died from choking on a chicken bone in the same issue. So not much of a villain.
Wow. Yeah, he only lasted about 28 pages. Well, that's not who I was thinking of. I thought it was from way back in like the 40s, but I'm wrong. So, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
So there actually is in DC canon an Undertaker, and apparently he sang macabre blues songs about bones when he was digging up bodies, just like Paul Bearer used to sing.
Digging up bones.
I'm digging up bones.
Exactly. It's perfect.
There's a connection right there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Maybe that'll show up in a future Batman movie. Maybe they'll resurrect that villain.
I hope so.
Yeah, not likely. But I before Batman '89 or after Batman, that movie came out. I didn't see it in the theaters, but I feel like my grandmother bought me the tape, and it's so funny, dude. Like movies like that, they weren't for kids, but they were certainly advertised to kids in so many ways. There were Happy Meal toys and action figures and Halloween costumes and everything. But even though it was not a kid-friendly movie.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to misquote, but I'm pretty sure that at the time it was like the biggest marketing like budget, I think, as far as, just synergy with like everything, toys, marketing, McDonald's. They had toys at McDonald's and the Happy Meal. That's a huge deal. And I had every one of them. I can't remember how many Happy Meals I had until I got the toys, they all came in. But yeah, just, it was everywhere. And yeah, it's PG-13. It's not a kid's movie, but it's Batman. So you're going to market it toward kids too. So yeah, it's wild, dude. And that got even more hairy with the second one. We'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Batman Returns. But anyway.
Well, it inspired a Batman fever for kids everywhere
Yeah.
and for people all over the country. And it really brought a new light on to something else that I loved. So besides besides the '89 Batman movie, there were three other things that I was thinking of that really inspired my love for Batman. And one was that TV series from the '60s with Adam West. They started showing reruns of that everywhere, and I watched
Nick
that.
at Night, dude.
Dude, I loved that more than I loved the movie. I loved the TV
Yeah,
show.
it's fun.
I
I
had
love it.
a Robin costume for Halloween. I had a Batman birthday cake. I just loved that version. It's so cartoony. That was for kids. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, for sure.
absolutely. And it's so. I actually saw an episode of it on MeTV the other night. I was
Wow.
uh, staying at a beach house and had that on, and man, it just brought back all the waves of nostalgia, dude. With the
Oh.
Caesar Romero with the mustache under
Mhm.
the Joker makeup.
Yeah. So good, man.
I
Yeah, I
love
have
it.
the fondest memories of watching it on Nick at Night. Like you just said, Beach House at our condo in Hilton Head. For some reason, I was always watching Nick at Night late at night on when we were at the condo in the summer and stuff. And I was always watching Batman. You know, Batman '66 stuff. It's just I love it, dude. It's so the eyebrows drawn on the mask. His white eyebrows drawn on there. I don't even know why, but it's awesome. Such a great thing.
Adam West was such a perfect, perfect Batman. It's so,
Yeah.
so perfect Bruce Wayne. Like his,
Yeah.
the way he talked, the way he spoke, his delivery with everything.
And he
Um,
became the mayor of Quahog, which is wild.
he also did that. He was
Yeah.
great in that role. Um, and then I also had, of course, I had the toys, but I had this little Batman comic book on tape that was sort of like an origin story with like an old school comic book. But I used to listen to that all the time, and that's how I really learned, the story of how he became Batman and how
Yeah.
that got ingrained in my brain. And then I had a VHS tape of Scooby Doo meets Batman
Yes,
with
sir.
Adam West
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember who played Robin. Burt Ward.
Burt
Yeah,
Ward, yeah.
yeah, they were both in it. I wore that tape out, and that was just so cheesy, silly, goofy fun.
Oh yeah, fun times, man. Yeah, that's good. And the toys, dude, the toys for that Batman first movie. I had the Batmobile, which had the plastic uh container you put over top of it like a cover because in the movie he hits that button and the little armor goes all over it. So it had
Yeah.
that, shot the missiles out the top.
Yep.
I had the Bat Cave, came with a little
Mm-hmm.
rock that you could pull it it would fall down.
Yep.
It had
Me
had
too.
a little elevator cage and everything like that. We had the Batman, his belt, his utility belt pulled out and he had the batarang in his hand.
Oh
Had
yeah.
all that stuff, dude. Yeah, I mean that was just peak, whatever, however old I was, 5, 7 years old, whatever it was. I just had all those things, man. It's
Did
great.
Did you have any costume? Because I had the mask and the bodysuit,
Yeah.
and like had a glove that shot little darts out
I
of it.
never had that glove, but I had like a mask and, the cape and stuff. And my wife has right here is her Batman pajamas that have the cape on the back, actually.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
You should have worn those.
No, I should have, except I'll bust out of them. So, wouldn't fit me.
Well, there was actually a Batman movie based off the TV series released July 30th, 1966. So that was the original Batman movie. Batman the Movie is called, directed by Leslie Martinson. I think it's not quite as great as the TV series, but I had the DVD. It's fun
Yeah.
to watch. You talked about the bomb
Shark.
in it or the shark.
Yeah.
It's got all the old villains from the TV series. So that's pretty fun to see.
Yeah. Eartha Kitt, right? It's Catwoman.
Eartha Kitt, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's sort of like some of these episodes we've been doing about Taker as Mean Mark or the Skyscrapers or as Punisher Dice Morgan. It's the foundation
Before they
for
were
what we're
superstars,
talking
yeah.
about. It's not fully formed to what we all love, but it's part of the lore. You need to see it to appreciate what comes forward after
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and then, of course, like we said, Batman '89. That's the big one. Tim Burton as the director. It's so
Yeah.
it's still, even to this day, it has one of the most unique visual
Aesthetics.
aesthetics to the entire movie. You talked about the toys, the marketing. It's all over the top. June 23rd, 1989, when it comes out. Michael Keaton as Batman. You got Jack Nicholson, freaking Jack Nicholson,
Yeah.
as the Joker, which was a huge deal at the time.
Batman movies have a history of controversial casting because people were not sold on Keaton. He's a comedian basically. He's in comedies, and then you have Nicholson, who's a huge name coming in to do it, which was kind of like, why is he lowering himself to do this comic book movie? And then that would continue on years later. When they cast Heath Ledger, people were crapping on it. When they cast Ben Affleck, people were crapping on it. Christian Bale was not unknown, but he wasn't very big. Robert Pattinson got crapped on when he, just a lot of stuff. Jared Leto was crapped on as the Joker. A lot of controversial takes in the Batman lore when it comes to, or Batman history when it comes to casting. So yeah, and it started with '89, with Michael Keaton.
I would say basically, I think we just have to say this is like Survivor Series 90 for The Undertaker. I mean, this is the debut. This is, and like with Undertaker Survivor Series 90, it was all kind of just there from the beginning. The debut, his presence, the presentation, it was all there for Taker, and it was all here for Batman. And it started a phenomenon, just like The Undertaker's debut did.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's fully realized the first time you see him on camera, Taker and, Batman. He's already, you don't see him becoming Batman in the first Batman movie. He's already Batman. Yeah. He comes down, the thugs looking around because they know that he's there, So, yeah, then when he flies in, and just, I'm Batman. It's iconic, man. Yeah.
It is.
And folks, there's another member of the Pod Street crew out there that, much like Travis and I, is a huge Batman fan, especially a fan of Batman '89. So I wanted to reach out to him to give him a chance to share his appreciation of this film. And that is Stephen Robert Murphy, but you probably know him on Instagram as @JoCuriousTorrents. And he is the guy who kind of went viral last year. He's a cosplayer. He's does these incredible mock-ups of himself as the Undertaker, and he actually went to one of the One Dead Man shows last year and dressed up as Taker, got that picture with Taker. Taker shared it on Instagram and social media and everything, so you've probably seen him on there. He also does some incredible cosplay as the Jack Nicholson version of the Joker, so this movie means a lot to him. So I want to read what he sent us to share about this movie. He said, "Hey everyone, it's Steven, aka JoCuriousTorrents, and I am going to proudly talk about my favorite Batman movie and how it connects to the Phenom. Tim Burton's Batman, or better known as Batman '89, has always been my favorite Bat film since I was a little kid growing up in the '90s. Michael Keaton's take was a serious, silent character that shrouded himself in black and hid in darkness, much like the early days of the Dead Man until 1996. They both took many beatings and striked hard to others when it was needed. Michael Goff's Alfred was the very loyal butler to Keaton's Bruce and aided him with wisdom and techniques during his crusade, much like Paul Bearer did with Taker. The true dynamic duo. They get the job done when things go wrong and always aid each other." Great connection and great parallel there, Stephen, to bring in Alfred as the pallbearer to Batman's Undertaker. And Travis is going to talk some more about some of these other character comparisons as we go on throughout the show. But thank you, Stephen, for being a fan and supporter, and thank you for sharing your love for Batman '89.
It is. So iconic that, of course, it's going to get a sequel 3 years later. June 19th, 1992 is Batman Returns. Again, directed by Tim Burton, and another maybe controversial, iconic villain turn. This time we got Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yeah. Little webbed hands.
I was terrified as a kid. So I definitely saw this one in the theater, and I remember crying into my mom's arms at the Penguin. It was so creepy and scary to me. But I didn't run out of the theater, but I didn't like when anytime Penguin would come on screen.
This movie is frightening, especially if it's kids movie, which I know McDonald's had an issue with the toys being marketed and wanting to be sold in the Happy Meals and stuff, because this movie was really a lot. It really pushed the envelope for what was accepted as a comic book movie and as PG-13, because Michelle Pfeiffer, kind of a horn dog in this movie, and her, and her outfits are a little bit much, for a kid's movie, if you call it. The Penguin's parents, Pee Wee Herman, by the way, that's dad. Penguin's parents try to throw him in a river to murder him in the opening scene. That's a lot for a child's movie. Every Disney movie starts with a murder of a family member. At least they're animated. This is a real person who's thrown over because his parents are he's ugly. That's wild, dude. You got all kinds of stuff in there. You got Max Schreck, who's Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken
is awesome. But it's just a very dark movie. It's way darker than the original Batman. if you can even imagine. So yeah, it was kind of controversial. I know that Burton got a lot of pushback with regards to his script, and like I said, from marketing and stuff, because the movie was so risque at the time.
But like you said, it's still very much marketed towards kids. I have toys from it. This was the era where you see this Batman here in the white suit. They were just making whatever when it came to
Yeah,
Batman. Like this was not in the movie. There's no movie where he's got. I believe this is called Arctic Freeze Batman. I mean, they
yeah.
were making like anything you can
Oh, it's like when
imagine.
you get NASA Leonardo from like Ninja Turtle. They
Same
just went,
era,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. You get like AT&T Michelangelo and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like car mechanic Raph. Yeah, you get Batman. Yeah, Arctic Freeze Batman, and yeah, it's just they're just going all over the place again. But we're buying all of it. We're buying
We
it
need it.
all.
We gotta
Yeah,
have it.
I gotta have them all, dude. Like Pokemon.
That's right. So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I guess I liked it, but it definitely creeped me out, and it was scary. But I was still a huge Batman fan. And one thing I will say. Oh, well, sorry. Let's tie this to Undertaker. Give us some Undertaker
Oh, well, I was just
comparison.
gonna say this is a Christmas movie. I think I said it on this podcast. Like people
Yeah.
say Die Hard's a Christmas movie. This is a Christmas movie. Batman Returns, Christmas movie, dude. So yeah, it's right up there. I don't know how to tie this into Undertaker, except for when he goes away and he comes back in Royal Rumble '94. He comes back later on in the year and he's back and he's darker and he's got different color scheme and he's ready to go. He's got the black and gray on at that point, right? When he comes back,
Well, he comes
does he?
back black and purple.
Black
So
and purple. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. So never mind. Wrong color. But yeah, he
well,
comes back, takes a little hiatus, and comes back.
yeah, I was gonna say this was maybe like 92, 93 Undertaker when he's like early baby face. So like
Okay.
He
Yeah.
Batman '89. He's certainly not a heel in Batman '89, but
Right.
it's it's the origin story and everything.
Yeah.
Batman Returns, dude. This is like the biggest baby face in the country, and like 92,
Ooh.
93, it's Undertaker's the big baby face. Everybody loves him. So excited for him. What do you say?
You got the millionaire Max Shrek. You got Ted DiBiase and Money Inc. and
Ooh,
everything, and he's sending his henchmen after him.
I like
That's
that.
what you got during that time.
Okay,
Yeah, there we
okay.
go. They're not penguins with rockets on the back, but they are henchmen. Yeah.
um, well, after this, I want to talk about this. I know you're going to have a lot to talk about it, but for some reason, Batman the Animated Series never really clicked with me. And I was the right age for it, but I think it was like too serious for me as a cartoon. And I guess I wanted something a little more Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers at that age. And I think that's what makes Batman the Animated Series so beloved is that it is a little bit slower and a little bit more serious. And I know you were a big fan of it, and there was a movie as well, The Mask of the Phantasm, Christmas Day '93.
I
Oddly
was
enough,
not there Christmas Day, but I was there very soon afterward to see that in theater.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that because I don't have much to say about it.
I think Batman the Animated Series is, and I'm biased, I think it's the greatest cartoon comic book adaptation ever. I mean,
Wow.
original X-Men, fantastic. X-Men 97, this new one, super good too on Disney Plus. But I think going back to this, I think the Batman animated series is the greatest cartoon like ever. It's so good for especially for a Batman fan. I think one of the reasons I love it and a lot of fans love it is because it's not as slapstick as Ninja Turtle or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a little different. It's a little more mature. It's not Batman Returns mature, but it has real themes. It has real life stuff. There's an episode called Heart of Ice, which is the origin story of Mr. Freeze. Who do you have him right there? No.
I did. I
It's
used to have one. Yeah.
it's one of the most as far as a cartoon, you start to feel for the villain there. You feel guilt for the why. You understand why he is the way he is. Which, if you actually understand Batman and take time to read it, which I read this book called The Psychology of Batman a few years ago. It's all about psychology, which that whole lore of Batman is all about just the human psyche and stuff. And so Heart of Ice I think I don't know if it won Emmys or something, but it was up for stuff for animated like Emmys and stuff. It's a great story. Again, animated series had great storytelling. Doesn't mean it didn't have kooky little episodes with Man Bat and stuff like that either, and Poison Ivy. It's fine. It definitely got off the rails, but overall, it just had really good psychological stories that even like as a 7-year-old, I'm still able to understand and be entertained. But I'm just like, man, this is something different. It's good. I think it still holds up.
No, a lot of people do. It just, for whatever reason, for me, it just was not. I couldn't fit it into my schedule. It wasn't never clicked with me, even as a Batman fan. But I know you had strong feelings about it. I know a lot of people listening do for sure. And some
Mask
of our
of the
listeners.
Phantasm is so good though. It's really. I wish it was live action because the storyline is just perfect. It really is like. It's got so much emotion in it for a cartoon. Like some people think cartoons are ridiculous and like, are you watching a cartoon? Yeah, but dude, it's just because it's cheaper to do than a live action. It's the same story that can be done in live action, but it's great. But it's just such a good story, man. Mask of the Phantasm is, and I hold it in very, very high regard. As far as I didn't rank it in my top ones, but like I would have. Like it's up there. I mean, it's up there. Top 5 for sure.
Ooh, wow.
Maybe top 3. It's so good. The story's so good.
I need to watch it sometime. I need to make time for it. Well, a lot of people hold this movie in high regards. One of our listeners and one of our friends of the show does especially. This is Steven Zeman, Collecting Dead Man. This is his favorite Batman movie, Batman Forever, from June 16th, 1995. Tim Burton is out. Joel Schumacher is in as the director. Controversial here.
In fact, I wanted to give our buddy Steven a chance to defend his decision to put Batman Forever as his favorite Batman movie of all time. And he sent me a little response back as to why it's his favorite Batman movie. So I wanted to read that to all you out there listening. It goes like this. It says, "Courage now, truth always, Batman Forever. Every time I am asked what my favorite Batman movie is, for the most part, many people are shocked by my answer. They're expecting The Dark Knight, Batman 89, or even Batman Returns. But when I say it's Batman Forever, I am usually met with the secondary question, why? Although the reaction has gotten better in recent years, it is never the first Batman movie that comes to people's minds, and I am shocked because it's genuinely perfect. Ever since I first saw it as a kid in the mid-90s, I was immediately captivated with Batman and the universe around him. The larger-than-life Gotham City, the scenes that blend neon and darkness perfectly, and the casting drew me in as a young fan and never let go. I love the Batmobile, the Batsuit, and the costumes of the villains as it adds so much visually to the movie. As I grew older, I kept my love for Batman Forever and it grew with me. To me, nobody better embodied what Batman meant than Val Kilmer, other than Kevin Conroy, of course. He portrayed a smart and successful Bruce Wayne who had a damaged and tortured psyche, which transferred to both villains he faced here. Tommy Lee Jones gave Two-Face a sense of derangement, and Jim Carrey brought the Riddler to life as nobody else could. And we finally get a Robin to match Batman and Chris O'Donnell, who offered each other guidance and support as partners. Just like my fandom of The Undertaker, it all comes down to visuals. Just as he captured my attention immediately by sacrificing Stone Cold at the end of Raw in 1998 and never let go, as did Batman Forever. Icons of the 90s that refuse to rest in peace. Well, it's hard to argue with that when you put it that way, Steven. Thank you for sending that in, and thank you for defending Batman Forever.
Controversial here, but I'll tell you what, and we can talk about the flaws, but as a kid, I guess as an 8-year-old, when I found out the news that Jim Carrey was going to be playing the Riddler in a new Batman movie, I don't know if I've ever been more excited in my entire life, dude. Jim Carrey was the greatest actor of all time to an 8-year-old in 1994.
Yeah. Yeah, you're telling me Ace Ventura and Lloyd Christmas is going to be in The Mask, is going to be it's going to be in Batman? That's upper echelon, dude. Yeah, it's great.
And he goes for it in this movie.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely goes, which, again, Taker does. And all of his stuff, all the hokey storylines Taker was in, he goes for it. He's all in. You can't, it doesn't matter. Same thing with Jim Carrey here in this. It is hokey, it's crap, it's wild, but he commits to it, dude, just like Taker did from day one. Commit to the character.
Well, I think this has got to be Purple Glove era Undertaker. All the colors, all the ridiculousness is turned up. This movie is so 1995. It takes everything from the Tim Burton movies and like amps it up, but it kind of misses the mark and like the heart and soul of the Tim Burton movies. Maybe part of that is Val Kilmer coming in as Batman, who does a good job, but he's not Michael Keaton. You know,
No.
he doesn't bring the same charm and appeal to the role that Keaton does.
Yeah, I thought Val he did okay as I was fine with him as Bruce, but as Batman I couldn't take it. And those are two different characters, honestly. Um, and yeah, I just he wasn't Batman for me. But yeah,
No,
I mean, seeing it though, I mean, I loved it when I saw it, but like, going back and watching now, it's like, man, what? Why couldn't y'all just given Tim Burton let him keep going? Like, because he had his Batman 3 written. So yeah, would have been nice
uh,
to have seen.
you got Robin introduced, which I was excited for because I was bummed that Robin was not a part of the earlier Batman movies. As a fan of the TV show, I always thought, oh, it's got to be Batman and Robin. You got to have Robin in there. So I was excited to see him start to get worked in Batman Forever. And then we got to talk about the soundtracks, man. We didn't should have talked about it with the first Batman.
Oh, Danny
Uh,
Elfman's score is one of the most iconic scores of all time for the first one. Yeah.
and Prince, the Bat
Prince, Purple
Dance.
Rain, or not Purple Rain. Yeah, the Bat Dance. Yeah, yeah, so
uh,
good.
but I love the Batman Forever soundtrack as well. You got U2 on that one. You got Kiss from a Rose on that one.
Yeah,
I
dude,
mean, pretty legendary
iconic.
stuff.
What is Smashing Pumpkins on the next one?
I don't remember. They're on one of
Don't
them.
think the end is the beginning is the end is on one of
It's
those.
on. I can't
U
remember
two
which
is
one.
on one too. I think it's on the next one.
Yeah, U2's on. I think they're on this one. Hold
Or
me,
this
thrill
one.
me,
Okay, yeah,
kiss me, kill me.
that's right. Yeah, but it's all like you said. It's very new generation
Yeah,
WWF era. Like you said,
for
it
sure.
reminds me when I see this movie. It reminds me of the arcade game of the WWF, like the Royal Rumble or whatever game, like where everything is just you got Dork bringing the sledgehammer out. It's just very
Yeah.
cartoon. It's very cartoony, even though it's live action. It's very cartoony. So,
I mean, and even more so was the next one, um,
oh
June
yeah,
20th, 97, Batman and Robin, again with Joel Schumacher, this time with George Clooney coming in as Batman, a role he famously hated after the fact. But, you know, he does fine. As a kid, again, as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, this was actually the very first movie I ever saw by myself in a theater at 11 years old. My supposed to go with another friend from school, but he like something happened at the last minute and he couldn't go. But I was like begged my mom, like I gotta see Batman and Robin. So she dropped me off at the theater and gave me money to buy popcorn, left me there, and gave me some quarters to use the payphone when I got
wow,
done to call her and trusted me enough to do that. And so
that's awesome.
this movie always holds a special place in my heart because of that.
I remember who I saw this movie with. Jay Oldham. Man, I haven't heard that name since high school or middle school. Anyway, yeah, we went and saw this movie together. Yeah, I loved seeing it. You know, at the time. But even as an 11-year-old, I came home and I was like, oh man, that just wasn't like you. I hold Batman and Batman Returns in such high regard, and it was law of diminishing returns after that. You know, Joel
Yes.
Schumacher, whatever. Just it just wasn't the same. And you try to do too much. You try to have too many villains in one story. You know, you got Arnold as Mr. Freeze, which again, I just spoke about the story of Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze, why he comes up with the cryogenics, how he becomes that. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy. It really is. It would play out and get Emmys if you did or get Oscars if you did an actual movie on Mr. Freeze. But to see how stupid it was and all
All
the
the
ice puns,
all the puns. That's
and
right.
then Bane, one of my favorite villains, created in the TV or created in my favorite Batman storyline, which is Nightfall, which I'll talk about later on as I relate it to Taker. Um, my favorite Batman storyline of all time, where his bat gets broken and he has to come back and fight over that. That's where Bane's introduced. They immediately throw him into the TV show, animated series, and then immediately adapt him to live action. But he is a nightmare in this movie. It's
Yes.
such a farce. It's so awful. It's like when you have Brodus Clay debuting as this big bad killer machine, and then instead he
Yeah.
comes out and starts dancing as a Funkadactyl or Funkasaurus. Like it was such a letdown, dude.
Such a
Like
waste.
such a waste. It's like okay, here we go. People, let's go in more modern times with Iron Man 2, the Mandarin. Everyone was like Ben Kingsley's the Mandarin, and instead he was like an actor pretending to be the man, and like so many Marvel fans were devastated. And
Yeah.
they fixed it later on in years, but like this was such a letdown, dude. Like, and it was played by a professional wrestler. I
Yeah.
forgot his name.
Jeep Swenson, who
There you
was
go.
in
Probably
the
in.
WCW in the Tower of Doom match with the
Oh, there you
Dungeon
go.
of Doom against Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. He
So see,
played. I can't remember what his name was there, but yeah, it's sort of like DDP and the Undertaker. Man, you got the. It's DDP. How do you mess up DDP? And he
yes,
comes in, and it's like you absolutely wasted
you
this
fumble.
iconic
Yeah,
character. Yeah, I do remember, even though I liked the movie as a kid, I was so excited for Bane, and I'd seen his pictures in, on previews and
yeah,
stuff, and I had the action figure,
yeah.
and I was like, dude, Bane's gonna be sick, and it's just absolutely
He
wasted
hits himself with
in that movie.
burn. That's all he does. Burn. It's a big roid rage guy. It's awful.
Yeah,
Bane is he's one of my favorite characters, dude. He's so that storyline Nightfall is the best, dude. I won't talk about that. I'm gonna relate some Batman characters to WWE characters when it comes to regards to the Undertaker storylines,
good.
and also I have some guys picked out for certain ones.
He does
But
get
we'll
some
get
redemption in a later movie, but
that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is I do love the Gotham City song from R. Kelly. I know we can't say good things about R. Kelly, but man, I love that
Hey,
song
at the
when I
time
was
it
a
was fine. Yeah.
kid. It's so bad it's good. And then yeah, basically this is like late 95, early 96 Taker. Like the character's starting to get a little long in the tooth. It needs to be reinvented. It needs a change.
This is
Because this
teardrop Undertaker. This is coming down from the sky Survivor Series. This is almost jumping the shark too much. Leather daddy boots, got the Alice Cooper boots on and all the leather, and yeah, get the teardrop on his face for who knows why. Like
yeah.
it's like you're trying stuff, it's not sticking. It's time for a reboot.
And this cartoony nature is starting to not
Fade
work
away. Yeah.
anymore, and as the attitude era is coming to exist, as Jerry Springer is becoming popular and all this stuff on MTV, everything is becoming more realistic and everything.
South Park.
And essentially, like, this movie kind of just like kills comic book movies for a few years. I mean, there's like,
Until X-Men. Yeah.
yeah, like it is such a big disaster in a lot of ways. But it kills off Batman, really anything Batman related, for 8 years.
8 years.
Until we get June 15th. June is the month for Batman, dude.
Summer
Batman
blockbuster, dude.
begins. Christopher Nolan takes over. Christian Bale takes over. And dude, tell me your feelings, because for some reason, like, this movie was just not on my radar at the time. Like, I guess I knew it was coming out, but like, I don't know what about it. Maybe I was still just like not into Batman at the time. But Kevin Fair, our old buddy, he brought a honest to goodness bootleg of this movie over to my house, like with like people walking in front of the screen and stuff. And it just blew my mind how good it was, even watching that crappy version of it. And it just totally reinvented the concept of superhero movies to me.
Yeah, I remember getting a phone call. I was at my girlfriend's house at the time, and I remember getting a phone call from, I think it was my old youth pastor, Scott. Somebody called and was like, "Hey, we're going to see Batman Begins. You want to go?" And it was like 9 o'clock at night or something. And I told her, she's like, "Yeah, go." So she got cool points for then. That's about it at that point. But yeah, so I left and went to see Batman Begins at whatever 9:30 at night. Maybe it was my brother and something. Anyway, we went and saw it late at night one night, and I just again, being as big a fan as I wasn't. I mean, I was excited about it. And I didn't know much about the storyline going. I didn't want to. I that's one thing with me and Batman movies that come out now. I don't like to watch a lot of previews. I don't do it for Star Wars movies either. I don't want to be given too much. I just want a little taste, just a little teaser. 40-second teaser is all I want. I don't want to see 2.5 minutes of the trailer. So I didn't. Going into this, I was jonesing for it, but I didn't know what to really expect. And so, being that as it may, like, I was just absolutely blown away. And being a fan of just seeing how different it was, the origin story. You don't see Batman for the first hour and 60, 70 minutes, something like that. It's like, that's incredible. Some people are like, "There's no Batman." I'm like, yeah, it's Batman Begins. It's Batman is beginning. we got spoiled with Tim Burton at the very beginning. Batman
Yeah.
is. He's there. This is telling you how Batman became, and it's showing you how this Bruce Wayne, yeah, it's just showing you the origin and the Ra's al Ghul, whatever you want to call him, that whole storyline, the trickery, the him deceiving, him being behind it all, and everything like that. Let me just, I'll go ahead and say, to me, Ra's al Ghul, kind of, I'm gonna put Paul Heyman in that spot when it
Oh, I
comes to
like that.
the Undertaker's history. Okay, now let's back up a little bit. Undertaker was with Paul Heyman as Mark Calloway, right? Kind of trained up in real life, like, under his
That's
wing,
right.
just
Absolutely.
like Bruce was with Ra's al Ghul. And we don't know what happened off camera in WCW, but like, we don't know what happened, but like, who knows, But at some point, they're opponents, and throughout Taker's career, we said when we were ranking his foes and stuff, like Paul Heyman's one of his biggest antagonists because he just constantly has us, he's managing somebody or he's always there. Ra's al Ghul is the same, man. Ra's al Ghul is eternal. Same. Paul Heyman seems like he's eternal. He's been in business since he was 15. Although he does look like the Penguin, I'm gonna put Paul Heyman as a Ra's al Ghul because he just has this never-ending feud with the Undertaker and always has a new guy for him or somebody who he's at the helm of, whether it's a Brock Lesnar or a CM Punk or the Dudley Boys or whatever it may be. Now you could say, wouldn't that be Paul Bearer? Well, no, because Paul Bearer does turn on him, but they come back pretty quickly. And Ra's al Ghul and Bruce never really they had that respect, but never really came back together. So they were always at odds. So
That's perfect, man. I would have never come up with that, but it makes so much sense. Yeah, I love that. I was gonna say this is sort of this is reinventing the character. So this is like Undertaker coming back as as the ABA,
yep,
as the biker taker. This is
realistic.
realistic, that
Yeah,
realistic, very what you needed for the time.
yep.
This is him doing that. But I could also even call this like maybe this is 2007 Undertaker, like during his work rate run. Like, oh, we're taking this Taker seriously. Like he's bringing the good. This is not cartoony Taker anymore. We're paying attention to him in the ring. Like these movies are actually starting to be taken seriously.
Oh yeah.
As not just like a comic book movie, especially the next one that we're going to talk about here.
And this movie is incredible too because everybody wants the Joker, right? But you get the tease at the very end about the Joker card or whatever. But like you see the Scarecrow, who again had never been on screen before. You see Carmine Falcone, which a huge mob boss in Batman lore. Carmine Falcone and Salvatore Maroni, both huge crime bosses in Gotham City. Kind of those two and Oswald Cobblepot kind of run the streets of Gotham, and so you get to see the street thugs, the how corrupt Gotham is. You see how nasty it is that and then that's going to continue to the other two movies, that Christopher Nolan does. But like you said, the grittiness, the realness, the rawness. This movie seems like it could actually take place in real life. It's a billionaire with some stuff, which is exactly what the American BA was. He was a guy that just had some stuff and like had a motorcycle and had, he was him though. He was just himself.
And it's the complete opposite of what we're getting from the Burton and Schumacher movies.
Yeah,
it goes in the complete opposite direction. Which is what people wanted and what we needed at the time. I like that you said it felt like it could really exist, and that's what made it so different and so unique. It was not really like the comic books that we knew and loved, and for better and worse. As we'll talk about, like I think sometimes Batman movies and just a lot of comic book movies in general go towards that darker tone. They don't all have to be like that, but that's not a criticism of this one.
That's not Christopher Nolan's fault that it worked and everybody tried to copy him.
Exactly.
He wasn't saying everybody do this like me. Yeah. He just did it and it was amazing. But then nobody's original in Hollywood, so they just copied what he did and said, "Oh, we'll just keep doing that." So yeah, we don't need a gritty, bare bones origin story for everybody, But I will say this: when it comes to DC versus Marvel, the comics have always been on that. Marvel's a little more. Yeah. Marvel's more Disney. Disney's more Six Flags. It's a little bit grittier, a little bit dirtier, which I guess it is technically because Warner Bros. But I'm just saying, like, it's a little bit. Marvel's always a little bit more fantastical. DC's always a little bit dirty, R-rated almost. Just kind of gritty. But anyway.
Well, July 18th, 2008. The Dark Knight is released again with Christopher Nolan. I don't think I've ever been more excited to see a movie. I don't think I've ever been more hyped to see a movie. Coming off of Batman Begins was so great. You had to see this one. And the Heath Ledger hype was just insane. Even before he passed away, you were hearing stories about his performance as the Joker and how crazy it was and how unique it was. And then, sadly, tragically, his death, it brought the hype up even more. Like, there are all these stories about, like, was he too much into character? Like, what happened here? And somehow it lived up to all of the hype. Like, I was just stunned for days after watching it. And I watched it a couple weeks before you did because I remember the first time you saw it.
Yeah, kind of important day in my life. So this movie had what I would consider at the time the best marketing campaign I've ever seen in my life. They had whysoserious.com, which you had no idea what that meant. You didn't know that would become an iconic line that Joker would utter, but they had, it would just throw these random updates on. You'd click on this. It was almost like what the Bray Wyatt QR code stuff was now, but this was in 2007 and 8. It's giving you all these clues. It would give you this fake newspaper article, and you had to go read it, and then just stuff that didn't make sense until you actually watched the movie. You're like, okay, but it was just really, really cool marketing. They'd have you go take a picture with your cell phone. Again, iPhones were brand new in 2007. Go take a picture with your cell phone and post it on Facebook and this and that, and then you get a link to something. It was so awesome. But again, watch the teaser for this movie. Never watched the full trailer. So when we did see this movie in theater, I thought the movie was over. When he makes him pick between who to save or whatever, and then you see Two-Face get burned, and you see like, oh crap, well, now he's gonna become Two-Face, and you see him he catches the Joker, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? But he catches Joker and puts him in the jail. And then that's when you see Joker doing that little clap or whatever. Like, I'm like, oh, the movie's over. It's only an hour and a half. That's fine. I'm ready for next. I literally thought the movie was going to be over. There's a whole nother hour after that. It was wild, dude. But this day we saw this movie. Yeah, I was down at Young Life Camp, and you came and picked me up. And
your session was over. So
my
I
session
drove
was
down
over.
Florida to pick you up.
Picked me up, and would eventually be my wife. Her and some friends came with us, and we went to watch this movie at the theater down there in Florida. And we held hands during the movie. Not me and you, me and Jenny.
Oh,
and,
I thought we did too.
We probably did. That's fine. Whatever. We may have. And what me and Jenny did for a little bit of that movie, and then the rest is history. And now we're going to celebrate 15 years. So it's crazy. So
by watching The Dark Knight, I'm sure, on your anniversary.
I would love to. Yeah, I would absolutely
take her back to that theater, rent it out.
Yeah. So this movie, like you said earlier, hold the Guinness record. I saw Phantom Menace 3 times in theater. I saw this movie 9 times in theater.
I thought it was double digits.
No, 9 times. But I saw it there with you and Jenny, and then I saw it immediately, like later that week when we got home. And then I had to see it in IMAX. I had to see it at the drive-in. I had to see the rerun. Like, I went and saw the Dollar Theater. To say I saw it at every theater in Augusta, I wanted to see it at all of them. So, I just loved it. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Batman or not, I think it's a great movie. It's a great crime movie. You can take the Batman part out of it. It's still a great crime movie. It's awesome. It's realistic. It's really cool. It makes you think too about stuff. It's got a lot of iconic lines, and performances are just off the chart, dude. Heath Ledger absolutely stole the show.
Academy Award winning performance.
Yeah, posthumously, right? Yeah.
Yeah, first time ever for a comic book movie.
And because of this movie not being up for Best Picture, people were enraged. The very next year, 10 films now. It used to be 5.
Expanded it.
They doubled it. They didn't just add 1 or 2. They doubled the whole thing. So, because of The Dark Knight. So,
isn't that wild?
Movie is very, very important. And again, this movie, my wife knows how much I love Batman. And how much this movie means to me, that we actually got engaged in Chicago because she wanted to take me to Chicago where this movie was filmed. we went to Cicero Street and all the stuff. Like I could see
Yeah.
where the 18-wheeler drove down and flipped and stuff. Like we're on that street. It was really cool. So yeah, Chicago is a special place because of this movie, and all the Nolan ones are filmed there. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So many great performances. Aaron Eckhart is fantastic as
Awesome.
Two-Face. He's great in it.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's awesome.
Oh, I was going to ask you, Katie Holmes or Maggie Gyllenhaal?
I mean, I love Katie Holmes back in the day, but I think Gyllenhaal did better overall. Like I hate when they switch people, but they had to, and it was fine. I'm glad they didn't change her name to something. I'm glad she was the same character. But yeah, I think Gyllenhaal was awesome in it. So
got to mention Zeus from No Holds
Yeah,
Barred.
No Holds
Tiny
Barred,
Lister
baby.
has
Tiny.
a very important role in this movie. Great performance to have that wrestling connection there, and something that was talked about a lot when we did this episode, SummerSlam 2008. That whole build with Undertaker and Edge. Edge used this movie and the Joker performance really as his inspiration for his character during that time.
Yep, over on Monday Night Raw, you got Chris Jericho using Antoine Chigurh or whatever from No Country for Old Men as his motivation for his new Jericho, character. And you got Edge using Heath Ledger's performance. He's said in interviews like, I wanted to be that unhinged and that great. And he was, dude. He was the Joker to Undertaker's Batman during that whole year of 2008. That whole storyline. He was like Jefferson. He's a dog chasing cars. I don't know what to do when I get one. Like he just was doing all the things to make Taker's life miserable. And yeah, it's just such a good parallel for this movie and those characters. Just kudos to Edge for just being just out of pocket and unhinged and just wild, just like the Joker was. So stuff he's just doing stuff seems like for no reason, but it's just wild.
Yeah,
I love this movie so much.
He immersed himself in that role so much, and yeah, I mean, it came out at the perfect time for us, like in our 20s, early 20s, like
22, yeah.
Just movies meant more to us in that time too. So like, it's going to be hard to top this movie. And yeah, like I said, I remember I was just I couldn't talk to people after I watched it, like walking out of theater, like for 10 or 15 minutes. Like it was just like blew my mind how good it was and how deep it was to me at the time. So it's going to be hard to top.
Combo movie shouldn't be that good.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't. It's just a great movie. It's just a great movie.
The Dark Knight Rises was the sequel or the final part of this trilogy, July 20th, 2012, again with Christopher Nolan, of course. This time you got Bane, you got Tom Hardy as Bane coming into this one. You got Anne Hathaway coming in as Catwoman. A lot of great performances here. I'm pretty sure this was a midnight release for me, which was always a bad idea. I always fell asleep during midnight releases, but so I think I had to see it again afterward. And it was a bit of a letdown for me. It's still very good, but nothing was going to live up to the Dark Knight to me. I put in my notes, it's kind of like the Undertaker Triple H matches at WrestleMania. Like they're great, but nothing's going to beat Undertaker Shawn Michaels to me.
Sure,
and
that's a great comparison.
How I felt this movie was compared to The Dark Knight.
I understand. So this movie, I actually went to the opening scene with the airplane and Bane's on it and all that stuff, and they hang the airplane from it's just that whole opening scene was released in IMAX in like December before this movie came out.
I remember that, yeah.
So me and a buddy, Brian, I was teaching high school at this point. Me and my buddy Brian went to see it just in IMAX. When we got tickets, went to the theater, and we got this Batman shirt that had the little chalk Batman that Joseph Gordon-Levitt kept writing on stuff in the movie. I had that Batman shirt. It doesn't fit at all now. I don't think I have it anymore. But anyway, with that free shirt, and then I remember people were like, "You're going to the theater to see a 7-minute scene?" And I was like, "Yeah, at midnight." And they're like, "Are you sure you're okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't think you understand. I'm going. This is Christopher Nolan. This is Bane. This is gonna be awesome." So yeah, but again, just watch teasers for the movie and then went and saw this thing, and they hadn't quite got the audio as good as it would become. Again, some people still complain about the audio for Bane. I'm fine with it. But I get it. But yeah, it was a little bit even more muddy, if you could believe, and 7 months before it came out. But I just was blown away watching it in IMAX. I mean, this whole scene was shot with IMAX cameras, and so to see it on an actual IMAX, not a big screen, an IMAX that wrapped around you like a real
Yeah.
IMAX, it was incredible to watch because I was a natural at the time. We had a real IMAX, so um, I remember seeing that and just Brian and I leaving, just like, God, I'm done. Like, can we just flash forward 7 months, dude, to get this movie? Like, it's incredible, dude. And yeah, when it came out, midnight release, me and him again in Nashville, and I love it. Bane again, seeing Bane on screen, he's one of my favorite villains. His story is awesome. Seeing it wrap up, tie in with Ra's al Ghul from the first movie. I know people were upset they didn't mention the Joker in it and stuff, but it would have been a disservice. I think. I think it's okay they didn't mention him. I think it's fine because the storyline was he was just a part of it. He wasn't the main villain the whole time. So yeah, I love this movie, but yeah, I do see how it's definitely a tier below. The Dark Knight for sure and Batman Begins maybe, but I absolutely love it. Are there holes in it? Sure. But it's a superhero movie. I'm allowed to give my suspension of disbelief,
Of
just
course.
like I am in
Yeah.
wrestling. But I
Yeah.
want to say this, if I may,
You may.
compare somebody. Thank you. So Bane in this movie, he, uh, breaks Batman's back. And then Batman kind of goes away and has to, which again, great scene. There's no music in that scene. When those two are just fighting down there in that, you know, cave or whatever it is, there's no music, which makes the scene so much better. Just them punching each other. And he breaks Batman's back over his knee. Again, that's straight out of the comic books. That storyline, Nightfall, is my favorite. But in that storyline, you get to see Bane actually discovers, or he deduces that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and he comes to Gotham. And what he does is he weakens Batman by letting all the Arkham inmates out, and so Batman is just 24 hours a day. He's fighting crime, fighting crime. Eventually, wears him down, breaks his back, and then Batman has to come back, after some supernatural ways to come back and fight him and defeat him. But anyway, similar thing in the movie here in Dark Knight Rises because he breaks his back and then Batman has to take a pause and go away and then come back. And I look at this like I look at Bane as Brock Lesnar. He defeated the streak. He
Sure.
defeated streak. Taker he broke the bat. Broke Taker's streak, dude. Like they had battled before, but this was he broke the streak, dude, which was we never thought would happen. You never thought Batman was going to get his back broken, so he has to
Right.
take some time off, come back, and then he would avenge his loss against him, later on down the road. So yeah, I look at Bane like a Brock Lesnar, and
Dude, yes.
behind that Bane, who was it?
Yes.
Ra's al Ghul and his daughter Talia, just like
Paul
Paul
Heyman.
Heyman. Exactly. See, it all works.
That's why we're doing this episode, man, because it all comes together like that. That's a perfect comparison there. I want to shout out before we move on from the Nolan movies, a couple of other great performances throughout the trilogy. Michael Caine as
Dude,
Alfred
made me
and
cry in this movie.
Gary Oldman as
Mm.
Commissioner Gordon. Just, in my opinion, the two best people to ever play those roles, period. You can debate best Batmans and whatever, but as far as those roles, I mean, they added so much to these movies and kind of thankless roles almost in a
Yeah.
lot of the Batman universe, but they were great.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Michael Caine. I cried this movie when he was leaving Batman. He's like you're gonna kill yourself basically. And he leaves him, and it's just man, it was a lot to take in. So
And Morgan Freeman, too.
Morgan Freeman as
It's
Lucius Fox. It's
fantastic.
so
Yeah.
good. So
Yep.
yeah, Batman's got his little legion of super friends there. To help him along the way.
Well, I don't know if you have much to say about the Gotham TV series. I never watched it, but I think you watched
Watched every
the
single
series, right?
episode. Yep, it was.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wacky. It's wonky. It messes with the lore. I'm fine with it though, because that's one cool thing about comic books. Like every origin story can be different because there's different, the different mediums. It doesn't have to be the same continuity, so it's fine. So yeah, it's crazy. I like they did a lot of cool Easter eggs, a lot of cool stuff, and it's a fun thing. You don't see Batman till the very last episode. It's young Bruce. He's a kid, So as the season goes, you see him how he's becoming Batman, and then he at the very last episode, you kind of see him, the silhouette of him and everything, which is cool. But Allegedly,
Yeah.
they didn't have the rights to show Batman, so they just could only just refer to him as characters.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, it's fun. It's a fun show. I mean, it's not like it's not the Nolan movies, but it's fun.
Yeah.
What it is. It's got some great
Yeah.
performances too. Jada Pinkett Smith, as weird as she is in real life, she plays a great character in here. And the guy who plays the Riddler I forgot his name. He's incredible though. His character is awesome.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So good view for you on that. But the next movie that comes out, we're going to enter the Zack Snyder universe here. March 25th, 2016, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. And this was the year of just superheroes fighting each other, not just fighting villains.
Yeah, Civil War.
Civil War came out the same year. Man, we usually stay pretty positive here, so maybe we'll argue on this one. I don't know, but just to me, this is a total flop to me. When I watching it in the theater, it made me mad watching it. I really hated what they did with Batman. I hated the portrayal of it. I hated him using guns. I laughed out loud with the Martha scene. And I never wanted to see Batman and Superman fight each other. Like, I didn't care to see these two guys fight each other. It just didn't work for me at all.
Have you seen the extended cut or the ultimate cut? Or it's got 30 extra minutes.
No, because I didn't like it the first time.
Sure, I get it.
I don't want to watch a longer version of it. But I understand it's probably better,
It should have been the one I mean, there are definitely things that should have been done better. I am a Zack Snyder fan. I like him. I think he's misunderstood. I think he gets unwarranted hate. Although I also see a lot of the flaws he has too. But he's unapologetically who he is, and I love that. He's him. He's not bending to change who he is. And I love that. But I see the problem with this movie is that DC just had a cow and tried to rush everything like Marvel was having such success. Man of Steel, I think, is a great movie.
I like Man of Steel.
I don't need a gritty Batman, but if you're going to give me a gritty Superman, but if you're going to give me a gritty Superman, you're going to have Chris Cornell singing on the soundtrack, and you're going to have him breaking Zod's neck, which I was a fan of because that's how Superman learns. I have to restrain myself so I don't kill people. Like, I love that he broke Zod's neck and killed him. I thought that was genius because we'd never seen it before. And again, it makes him human. Like, it shows his humanity. He's like, oh crap, I am too much for this world. I have to do something. If I want to be their savior, I got to do something to pull back a little bit because I can really murder them all. But again, there was supposed to be another Batman movie and then do this versus Superman thing, but they just rushed it all. So I don't like that they did that, but I do like this movie a lot, especially the Ultimate Edition. The extra 30 minutes really fills in some gaps, lets things play out a little more. You see some characters you don't see. It just really makes things make more sense. But you're right. You shouldn't have to see that to like it. It should have been in the theatrical. You should have just had it that way and been good. But yeah, this movie, I was a big fan of Batfleck. I like Ben Affleck. I like his portrayal. I like that he was older and grittier and just like out of F's to give. And just like, whatever, dude, I've been doing this forever. And now you have this alien who can level a whole city. I'm going to just go on a rage, And so I get it. The Martha thing, I know it seems hokey, but I think the farther I get away from the Martha thing, the more I appreciate that scene because I, as a fan, huge DC fan, never put together that both their moms' names were Martha. And I know that seems like how dumb, like who cares? But like it's the humanity of both of them. It's both of them seeing that they both have, this human side. Even like Superman has a human side, even though he's from another planet. But anyway, we can get into the weeds there. But it's just, I like the movie. It's not. It should have been so much more though, for sure. It should have been 2 movies probably. Unfortunately, they rushed everything. But I don't know how to pull this into Taker. Except
so for me,
that,
go ahead.
It's I was gonna say it also introduces a lot of cool stuff. The post-credit scene with Deathstroke is lovely. Deathstroke's one of my favorite villains in Batman lore. I love it. Yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say with regards to Kane?
To me, this is Undertaker versus Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. Like,
jeez,
they're booking it like this dream match,
Okay.
but like I never wanted to see that
Okay.
match in the first place. And so I watch it, and not only did I not really need to see it in the first place, it's also a disaster when it takes
Okay.
place. So that's what it is to me. I understand it's not to you. You like it a lot more than that. But in my mind, that's where I put it. But I do. Affleck is not the problem in this movie. He's fine. He's not the worst Batman, but he's not the best Batman.
I think he's a great Bruce.
He's middle of the road for me. I like him in general as an actor, but he's not the issue to me. It's just like the whole concept of seeing the heroes fight each other was just never worked for me. I don't really like Civil War all that much. It's probably in the bottom tier of my Marvel movies as well. Like I don't need to see the heroes, against each other.
Well, and the thing is, like, there was just, if they could have fleshed some stuff out more, like, because Lex Luthor's behind it all. Like, that was the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, he's the one pulling the strings here.
Yeah.
He's the, they didn't want to fight each other. It's just Lex was doing what he's, so that's fleshed out a little more in the Ultimate Cut, But this movie's got Holly Hunter in it, so that's always good.
So it's got that
She's
going for it.
Yeah, she's great. But yeah, I just it's got a lot of great actors in this movie. The whole Snyderverse has great actors in it, and this movie, it had to set up too much. They have Wonder Woman come in, they got Batman vs Superman, they got Lex Luthor who is off his rocker, and then they have a cameo from the Flash, they have a cameo from Aquaman, they have a cameo from Cyborg. They're trying to do too much.
100%.
So that's the problem here.
Yep.
Pump the brakes, tell a story slowly, let it go.
Well, as down as I am on that movie, I got nothing but positive things to say about February 10th, 2017, the Lego Batman movie.
So good.
I had no expectations going into it. This was a time where I had a kid in the youth group that I was working with. He loved superhero movies, so that was our thing. We went to every superhero movie that came out, and he was like, Lego Batman movie? And I was like, I guess that counts. I guess we have to go do it. I liked the Lego movie fine enough, but I was just like, I would have never seen this on my own. But when we did, man, I just had like childlike joy on my face. It just got everything right. Will Arnett is perfect in it. So many great jokes, so much attention to detail, and so much love and affection for the whole Batman universe.
Oh yeah, this movie is without a doubt incredible, dude. Just the way they portray everything is so funny. Just the opening of it, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's Legos, but yeah, it's funny, man.
Exactly.
Galifianakis is the Joker. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, all he wants is for Batman to be his like worst enemy. It's just great. He loves Batman, but he wants him to be. It's so funny, man. Yeah, Will Arnett's perfect. I don't know if Siri still does it. You could talk to Siri like him in the Lego movie, and she'd talk to you back like she'd say quotes from the movie.
Yeah.
I don't ever use Siri on my phone anymore, but if you do, you could say like, "Hey, Pewter," and she'll talk to you and say like, "Your lobster thermidor is ready, Master Wayne," or something like that. So yeah, it was fun.
Zoe Kravitz is so good in it that she becomes Catwoman in the Batman.
Yeah, also because Michael Cera is Robin too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's like, I'd compare it to like the Boneyard match, man. It's just like, it's not that serious, but it's so much fun.
It's wild. Yeah.
To watch
Boneyard
back.
match is great.
And they get so many elements right, so many good little nods to history in it. That was what I was thinking towards that one.
Yeah. And you got Man in the Mirror by Robert Cheese or whatever, Richard Cheese. That's so good. Yeah.
Back to the Snyderverse or the Whedonverse, we can get into all that. That's the one I saw. I never saw the extended cut, and I know you're going to talk about that. But the Justice League, November 17th, 2017, to me, like I said, I did not see the Snyder cut. But even this one, I still think it's an improvement over Batman versus Superman, but it still just does not work for me. There's way too much going on. And again, for the same reasons, like I have no interest in watching a longer version of a movie I didn't like in the first place. But I understand it has a lot of a lot of fans to the Snyder cut, and the movie that we got in theaters had really nothing to do with the original vision.
Yeah, it's not even the same movie. That's why it's not 2 more hours of the crap you saw in theater. It's a whole different movie. It really is. Like it's a 4 hour cut of the way the movie was supposed to be. Whole different storylines in it. Cyborg is a real character in it. The Flash is. It's just all fleshed out. It's great. The Snyder Cut, honestly, one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. It's so good. Just the
Wow.
way it's well done. The story, I love the mythology of DC Comics, and the way Zack Snyder pays attention to detail and the stuff he brings in with Darkseid and with the Amazons and the landing. I love it all, dude. It's so much attention and so much mythology and world building, which I'm all about when it comes to comic book movies. So really good, and that just ties into like Taker stuff. There's so much stuff with Taker, like just all the lore and the backstory and things with him and Kane, and you gotta. It's all the same character throughout these 30 years we've been watching this guy. So even though he changes, in the American BA and then comes back from that, he's still the same guy, has the same backstory. So I love the mythology of Taker we've come to love here on the show, and I love the mythology that Zack Snyder brings to the DC Comics world, specifically in the Zack Snyder Justice League. So where he was headed with it for the 2 sequels was probably going to be, if he'd have got to make those, I probably would have taken the cake as the best comic book movies ever. The storyline was incredible, but they tried too hard too fast, and they fizzled out. Which I blame DC or Warner Bros. Not Zack Snyder. They weren't patient, dude. Which I'll say this, that goes in wrestling. You got to sell. You've got to, when you think you're going too slow down. Then you're going too fast, slow down. Taker said that in that Chris Van Vliet interview. Like that's one thing he learned from Harley Race, I think, or something. It said like if you're going too fast, or maybe Flair, if you're going too fast, slow down. If you think you're going too slow down. Like you can't rush. That's one thing Taker doesn't like about matches nowadays. Is like there's not a lot of selling. There's not a lot of, you got to be patient in there. Let the crowd get it all. Just like when it comes to comic book movies and world building, be patient. Let your crowd soak it in. Let your audience get it. What you're doing, and don't just rush to the end, man. But DC couldn't help it. They just trying to catch up to Marvel too quickly.
Well, even when you talk about it from a storyline term, that is what has cursed DC throughout the years, is that it's the start and stop.
Exactly.
And they did it with this, and then they started again, and then now they're stopping again. And they've filmed entire movies that they've put on the shelf.
Yeah,
an entire
Batgirl,
Batgirl movie that has been deleted, essentially, that we're never going to see. And hopefully now, what's his name? James Gunn. Maybe now he's got the keys to the kingdom and can actually, shepherd it into something there.
Well, and Matt Reeves still has his story. He still has
his whole separate universe.
His whole separate universe going. Yeah, which is crazy, but yeah.
What I was gonna say is that it's very hard to do that with movies, and people took it for granted how easily Marvel was able to do that over 20 some odd movies and over 13 years, where, I mean, they're still technically doing it. But I just mean the whole original Avengers storyline. And it makes me think of like we said, the Undertaker and Triple H and Shawn Michaels storyline.
Yeah.
Like how easily that could have gone off track over 4 years, and how many things had to go right. Like we take it for granted that they told this story over all these years. And eventually it did go off track in Saudi Arabia, but as far as the original, those 4 matches, it told this perfect story, but that is not easy to do. Nope. It takes great performers, but it takes a lot of luck and a lot of things working well.
Yeah.
And things just didn't click that way with the whole Snyder universe.
Yep. Exactly.
It's unfortunate.
It is.
There's been a couple of, I thought we just mentioned some of the other Batman adjacent films, like Joker, which, again, won an Academy Award with Joaquin Phoenix's performance.
That movie throws a wrench in the Batman mythos, but I love what they did. The origin with his mom being she was an Arkham, I guess. Her name is Martha Arkham, which I was like, what? That's so cool to hear. Like, no one's ever done that before, so I thought that was cool. So.
I understand why Joaquin won the Oscar, and I love him. It's to me, I definitely did not like that movie as much as other people liked it, but
Same.
he goes for it, and I get it. And the sequel certainly looks like something with Lady Gaga in it. We shall see.
And
Um,
Seth Rollins had that,
that's
Joker
true.
Commercial for WWE or whatever.
Yeah, him and Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, Batman plays a little role in those
Yeah.
movies. Again, not my favorites, but
I wish I want David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I wish he gets his version, because the one we got to see on theater was not the one he had, because they made him change it so much. Because what Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy did so well with their humor. Stop trying to be Marvel again. What Monday Night Wars, dude? Like WCW
mm,
and
yeah,
WWF. Like, stop trying to be the other one. Right now, TNA or AEW, WWE. Quit trying to be the other one. Just do your thing. Do your thing, and you have fans. Just go with it and cater to your fans. So stop trying to be the competition. But yeah, WCW and WWE, same way with Monday Night Wars. Like, just stay strong and or take something from your competition, but maybe don't go exactly like them and mimic them. You had the NWO killing it. You got DX, but they're not exactly the same. They're doing weird
exactly.
things a little bit differently.
Right.
You got Austin and Goldberg. You got Taker, but like Taker and Sting, but they're not the same. They're taking things to a different level and everything, but you're not exactly mimicking it. So don't do that, because what happens? One of them surely fails. Well, WCW failed, which I've watched the Who Killed WCW things. So spoiler alert,
That's on your mind.
they never tell you. So yeah, watched all 4 episodes. But anyway, yeah, he's in Suicide Squad, the original one. He's in The Flash that came out last year or 2 years ago, whatever like
Yeah,
that. That was fun to see Keaton in that, but it's cool Batman stuff. But it was just like that movie was fun for a minute, but it's not gonna last forever. And then also George Clooney is in that as an Otherworld Batman.
I
He
didn't know. I
shows
didn't
up
even know that.
as a
I
little
never watched it.
post credit scene thing, or maybe it's right before the credits. But anyway, Flash ends up on the world he thinks is his, but George Clooney is Bruce Wayne, which is not Ben Affleck. So he knows he's in the multiverse. But anyway, and then what else is he in?
Is he in Birds of Prey? I don't think he has a scene
He's
in
not
that.
in. No, I think they mentioned him, but he's not in Birds of Prey yet.
That one I really liked.
Joker's not even in that.
I thought that was a lot of fun. I wish they
It's
do
like
another
that.
one of those. But then, of course, the most recent Batman movie, as far as this recording, is The Batman,
Yeah.
from March 4th, 22, directed by Matt Reeves, with Robert Pattinson as the Batman. I actually just watched this one this weekend, just to prepare for this one. Missed it when it came out. And I'll say I really liked a lot of the performances in it. It was better than I expected it to be. I didn't see it when it came out because, like, I just have this bias against anybody that was in a Twilight movie. Like, I hate it. Had wanted nothing to do with that when those movies came out. So I can't take Robert Pattinson seriously. And I don't think he was great in the movie, but he was not as bad as I thought he was going to be. But to me, this is what I was talking about earlier, as far as a movie. Just a Batman movie doesn't have to be the most dark, depressing thing. Like, this movie is it's so visually dark.
Visually
Like,
dark,
it's
yeah.
hard to see through it. And what I like about Christian Bale in the Batman movies, really Batman Begins, he's having fun. Like, when he gets to be Bruce Wayne, like, he's having fun. Like, there's a lightness to him. And Robert Pattinson in this is just like this goth emo guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, on purpose. I mean, this seriously, literally, the director wanted him to be like Kurt Cobain. Like, that was his inspiration for it. But I guess I want a little bit different from Bruce Wayne and Batman, and a little bit of levity in the movie. But I think I'd like to see this cast in a different movie, maybe a different director, because I thought Paul Dano as Riddler was one of my favorite villain performances in any Batman movie. I thought Zoe Kravitz was pretty good, and
Turturro.
John Turturro as
Yeah.
Carmine Falcone.
Carmine Falcone, yeah.
He's great, man.
He is. Have you seen the the scene, the deleted scene where Batman goes talks to Joker in the theater? You should watch that. It's cut from this movie. You should watch it. It's Barry Keoghan is Joker.
Oh, okay.
Because he's at the very end of the movie. You saw he's Paul Dano's in the thing right next to the Joker
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right,
So, but there's earlier in the movie, Batman actually visits Joker, and they have like an 8-minute scene, and it's pretty wicked, dude. But I understand why they cut it, because some stuff that you find out later, it gives away some stuff that you want to be revealed later in the plot. It's a very cool scene, but I know it had to be hard to cut the Joker out of the movie, but it was it's really cool. But yeah, this movie, I'm glad to hear your take on it. Yeah, when I saw this movie, I really liked it. I was really disappointed in the language. There's a lot of GDs in it, which is not my favorite to hear, because I want to take my kids to see Batman movies. I don't want to take them to see this one. I'll be honest with you. I don't want them to watch this one, not for a while. I was very let down because of the language. However, I love the story. I think the story is incredible. It's great seeing him as a detective a little bit. It's great seeing him kind of. I like the moody broodiness. I don't like that Batman and Bruce are the same person. I want to see, like you said, different characters. I didn't take many notes for this podcast, but I made those notes. Like, that's one parallel I will say with Mark Calaway and Undertaker. Like, Batman is Bruce Wayne. Like, that's the real guy. His parents were murdered in front of him. He wants vengeance. Batman is the real Bruce Wayne. The Bruce Wayne playboy that we see, who's having fun and spending money and sleeping around and doing this and that and gallivanting. And like, that's the character of that's Bruce turning it to 11, being who he thinks society needs to see him as. But Batman is the real guy, which is kind of the opposite when it comes to Taker. Like, Mark Calaway is, I guess he's almost like a Bruce Wayne. Like, he's over the top. He's funny. Mark Calaway in real life is hilarious. Like, he's a big just ribber. You get to see the real person. But like, the Undertaker is, not the real guy, but that's again, he's the opposite of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like, he took Taker very seriously. He didn't break kayfabe for years. Even in, like, on Regis and Cappy, he was in character. Like, he was always serious. But like, now, what we see as the Mark Calaway is almost like the Bruce Wayne, the playboy, the silly guy who can be out and have fun, but he's also like being real. So I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but I feel like that's kind of a parallel between Batman and Mark Calaway and Bruce Wayne and the Undertaker. So, but yeah, this movie, I like it. It's very long, which again, dude, if I'm paying $11 or $15 for a movie, give me all you want. I don't care if it's 5 hours long. I want to sit
Almost
there and
3
watch
hours.
it. Yeah, I want to see it. So I love a long movie, especially a Batman movie. The longer, the better. I like this movie a lot. I'm really looking forward to the sequel, seeing where they go. I'm looking forward to the Penguin show on HBO Max. It's going to be good. Colin Farrell was like Randy Orton for me. I hated Randy Orton. You and I hated Randy Orton for the longest time. But in 2016, something clicked, and I started loving Randy Orton. When I saw what's his name, Colin Farrell in this movie, I was like, you know what? This guy's not half bad. He's doing a good job. So I'm a Colin Farrell fan kind of now. I love Randy Orton now, but Colin Farrell's doing a great job as Penguin, and I'm not as down on him as I used to be. But yeah, this movie was it's fun. It's visually dark, like you said, so very Taker-esque there. So
I love that you pulled it full circle there, bringing it back to the Undertaker and Mark Calaway and that dichotomy. And I think what you said too about why this movie is a little disappointing goes back to Batman '89. That movie was not made for kids, but it had a lot of childlike elements to it and things that brought in a younger fan base. And this Batman movie doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And I just wish there was more Batman content out there, more productions that had that and would veer a little bit more towards that. Obviously, there's cartoons and there's always going to be that. But I wish there was another live action one, and maybe in James Gunn's universe we'll have a little bit more of that element to it.
I think it will. So he's pretty fun director too. So we'll see what he does with it. So his movie is going to be called The Brave and the Bold, I think, which is Batman and Damian Wayne, which is his son. So that'll be interesting to see. He's already a fully formed Batman. He's got his son. So, so that wraps it up for all the Batman movies, doesn't it?
Yeah, let me give you.
I want to say so. There's a bunch of animated movies too. There's all kinds. There's great great storylines. There's Long Halloween, Year One, The Man Who Laughs, Killing Joke, all great storylines, iconic books. Some that have been quasi adapted to what you see on film. Like Batman Begins is almost kind of like Year One. Dark Knight Returns is ripped out of ripped out and put on Batman vs Superman, parts of Justice League as well. So a lot of cool stuff that's been kind of adapted. Golly, but one thing I was going to say. So we haven't talked about Kane this whole time. I was trying to wrap my brain like who is Kane in the Batman universe. So I got an idea here. Just bear with me. So
All right.
there's multiple Robins. The first one is Dick Grayson. He dies. Or no, I'm sorry, I lied. He becomes Nightwing. He becomes his own character. He grows up and becomes his own crime-fighting character as Nightwing. Batman gets a second Robin, and his name is Jason Todd. Historically, the fans hated Jason Todd. They did not like him. So in 19 was it 89 or 91 or 92? And maybe it was 92. DC in real life put out a poll. People could write in submissions to vote to kill or not kill Jason Todd. Well, they voted. They hate him so much they killed Jason Todd in the comic books. He gets killed. It's a storyline called Death in the Family. Joker kills Jason Todd. Years later, to retcon it because DC was a little. Some certain writers were frustrated with how DC pulled that off. They bring Jason Todd back, but as a villain, and his character is the Red Hood. So there's a Red Hood gang. He's under this Red Hood. You don't find out till later in the comic book story that it's actually Jason Todd. He came back from the dead with the same thing that keeps Ra's al Ghul alive, the Lazarus Pit. But anyway, so all that being said, I was looking at that. I was like, because Kane to me is like, is Kane Bane? Is he Joker? Is he Penguin? Is he Riddler? All the ones? Is he Scarecrow? No. To me, he's Red Hood. He's perfect. The quote unquote younger brother, which Robin is, who gets killed. Taker thinks is dead. He kind of moves on, and then years later, he comes back to kind of haunt him and avenge him. And he's there, and just they butt heads ever since. And then years down the road, Red Hood, Jason Todd, and him kind of have this on again, off again relationship and stuff. And I think in the last Arkham game, the Arkham Knight game, spoiler alert, he's the Arkham Knight. Actually, he's not Red Hood. So it's Jason Todd, which is a big fans were blown away. Like that was kind of a crazy thing. So. But anyway, yeah, that's Kane in the Batman universe to me, is the Jason Todd who dies and comes back and it's under the Red Hood. How convenient.
I never even knew about that character. I'm not as versed in the comic book universe and all of that as you are. So you're bringing stuff to the table I had no idea. And that's why we had to do this episode, man.
Yeah, that's been inside me. Apparently, I didn't know. I was like, who is Kane? Who is Kane?
Bane
is Brock Lesnar, and the Joker is Edge. Who is Kane?
Yeah, I never would have thought of Robin, but that obvious. I mean, that's so obvious when you think about it. All right, before the rankings, I can hit you with a quick little lightning round of questions here. What's your favorite non-Joker villain performance in a Batman movie?
Ooh. Let me think about it. Non-Joker?
Yeah, can't be one of the Jokers because those are obviously the best ones.
I really like Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, and I really like Bane, just because I love Bane. I don't know, man. Coin toss. I'll go with Ra's al Ghul.
Okay. Favorite soundtrack song from a Batman movie?
Honestly, I listened to Dark Knight soundtrack the other day at work. I think the Joker's, I don't know, man, dude. I think the Danny Elfman, the main one from Batman '89, might be just the most iconic. Just the, that's probably the most iconic. But I do love the Joker's theme from the Dark Knight as well. That crazy violin sounds like it keeps going up, 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 up. It's so good. So. All
right. Favorite Batman toy?
Oh, it has to be the Batmobile with the cover over it. They had the rockets that shoot out and stuff. So.
Favorite Batman video game?
Arkham City. So it was Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Origins, and then Arkham something. I didn't have the one I can't think of because you had to have a PS4 or whatever, 5, whatever. I didn't have that. So I had the first 3 Arkham games, but Arkham City really, really good game. Open world, big storyline, unique characters. That are the main villain is Hugo Strange, which is a great character, but you don't hear him
Mm.
often. So
Mhm.
really cool, really good storyline. Really good storyline. You get to fight Bane again, Joker. It's just awesome.
I mean, I'm sure there were Batman games when we were kids, but they
I had
must
the
have
Batman
not.
'89 game on
I
the
just,
regular Nintendo.
I
It's
have no
awesome.
memory of them. Okay, all right.
That there wasn't many though. There weren't many. Like there was the Batman '89 on NES, and then I honestly can't think of another one until the Arkham games came out. So he
How is
might have
that
been in.
possible?
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, which wrestler could play Batman in a future Batman movie? Which wrestler do you think would give the best performance?
Golly. Hmm. Best performance. If Drew McIntyre wasn't Scottish, then he'd give a
Ooh,
good performance as especially the character work he's doing right now. He'd be great. Um,
I thought, John Cena could absolutely be
John's.
Batman. I don't know if he could be Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
but like I could totally see him
Yeah.
as like a Michael Keaton style Batman.
Oh yeah.
100%. He could
Yeah.
totally fill that role. I just don't know if he could pull off the charm and the Bruce Wayne aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I think maybe just Drew with what he's doing right now.
I like that answer. That's a good answer. All right, so
He's charming yet terrifying at the same time.
yes. All right, the Batman movie rankings is how we're gonna close it out here. I thought I would just give mine, and then you could give yours, maybe
Okay.
instead of going back and forth, because I think yours are what the people really care about. You're the aficionado here, but mine go. If you can't tell already, at the bottom, Batman versus Superman. That's my bottom pick. Batman and Robin. After that, then Justice League is going to be right above those. Again, that the only cut, the original cut. I've never seen the Snyder cut.
Sure.
Then the Batman is going to be right above that. Then I've got Batman the movie from '66. That's just pure nostalgia, man. I'm not saying it's a better made film or anything like that, but that's just where I'd rank it. Batman Forever, I'm going to place right above that. Then Batman Returns. Then Dark Knight Rises. Then Lego Batman. It's going to be number 4 for me. It's so much fun. Then Batman '89. Batman Begins, and then Dark Knight. It's got to be my number 1.
Respectable. How many was that?
I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
12. All right. 12 is probably Batman 66 for me.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
12. And then 11 is going to be, because we're not counting Suicide Squads and all those ancillary things. And, I won't count the Ultimate Edition. We're doing theatrical releases.
Nah, you can count whichever you want. It's your list.
But we'll do theatrical releases. So, because it would be a different story if I do the other one, and that's too much to think about. So,
well, you said the Snyder Cut is in your top movies ever. I think you have to include that.
Right,
first.
but it's not theatrical, so I don't know. Okay,
that's what it is to you. Like you don't consider it. Yeah, I think you have to.
12 is 66. 11 is Batman and Robin. 10 is Batman Forever. 9 is probably. Oh golly. Oh no. This is tough. 9 is probably Batman. Sheesh kebab. That's the unreleased one. Probably maybe Justice League.
Okay.
Shoot. But see, that's not the Snyder Cut. Okay, I'll put Batman vs Superman there. Okay. And then I'm gonna put what's that? Number 8 is next. Is Batman Returns maybe?
Okay.
And then 7 is Batman and Lego Batman. and then
Okay.
what's next? 5. 5
Yeah.
is maybe. Oh no, this is too hard. Top 5's too hard.
You gotta do it. You gotta do
I
it.
know. Top 5 is going to be Snyder Cut, Justice League. Yes, Justice League Snyder Cut, and then I'm going to go Dark Knight Rises, Batman, Batman Begins, Dark Knight.
Okay.
That's all of them. That's 12. So, and I'll change it in about 4 seconds if you ask me again. So, that's top 5. It's tough. Oh, it's tough. Yeah.
It is tough, but I appreciate you doing it, and that
Yeah.
is
I
the.
wanted to do it in real time. I didn't want to write them down because I knew it would change as we talk about stuff. So
No, it's
yeah.
it's in the universe now. It's been recorded, so you got to stick
Yeah.
with that. That's your top 12.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I said, I didn't put Mask of the Phantasm on. That was a theatrical release, so that would.
With that would be the
That's
top 5,
oh man,
maybe.
no,
No.
not it wouldn't be top 5. So if it was live action, yeah, that's one thing. Okay, I'll end on this. That's one thing I want. I don't know why we can't get like a Daredevil Netflix show or like that's Batman. Separate from any universe they are. But let's just do it doesn't have to be rated MA. I'm not saying like that, but just like let's do a TV show that's Batman. Tell some stories over weekly television like that.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see it. He can already be Batman. It doesn't have to be the Matt
Yeah.
Reeves Batman, or it can be a different one. I don't care, but like let's tell a season long. They have Batgirl. She was Batwoman. I mean, Batwoman was on TV. You know, Batman
Alfred
was,
had his own TV show there.
yeah, Pennyworth had his own TV show. It's just we haven't ever gotten a Batman like besides the '66 TV show, or like the '60s show. We haven't ever gotten a Batman character serialized in his own TV show, and I don't know why. Like, why is that not the case? Gotham didn't even happen until the last episode, so that's what I've always wanted to see. Because honestly, the closest we've ever come to that is the first 2 seasons of Arrow. I love the show Arrow. He's basically Bruce Wayne. He's a billionaire
Right.
who has only got one parent, but billionaire who fights crime as an alter ego. He has all the gadgets and fun. But the very first 2 seasons, basically, he is Bruce Wayne. He even fights against Deathstroke, who is one of Batman's major Rogues Gallery villains. So it's just the parallels of the first 2 seasons of Arrow are very close. So I look at that as a kind of a Batman-esque show because it's the same type of story. But anyway, I don't know why we can't get that for Batman. Like, just give me, an 8-episode run and then do one every 3 years, 2 years. Like, let's just go. I don't know why. Adapt The Long Halloween, adapt Batman Year One. Like, it's all there. It's all there. Just do it.
We've put things into the universe that have happened before, Travis. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what the universe needs to hear, and maybe they'll give you a production credit on it. Because
Maybe
I agree
so.
with you. There's so much lore, so many characters, so many stories you could explore there. That would be a lot of fun, and maybe that's what the Batman character needs to be refreshed and be reinvigorated. So who knows?
I mean, it's a crime drama. I mean, Batman's
Exactly.
a crime. It's crime.
That's
It
right.
can be a crime procedural. I mean, it can be anything. Like it's so much. There's so much there. But yeah, I mean, the Long Halloween, the storyline is there's a calendar man. He kills somebody once on every holiday throughout the year, and you got to find out who. Like that story tells itself. The storyline I saw about Batman with Nightfall, where breaking his back. There's a whole plot in the middle I missed where somebody else takes up the Batman mantle, but goes too far. Bruce trains him, but he goes too far, starts killing people. And then Bruce has to come back and take over and fight that guy and become Batman again. So that whole storyline, it's beautiful. It'd be played out well on screen. So I don't know.
Sold me on it.
Too much left untapped, dude. I don't know why DC won't do things with it. So
Hey, the job is open. Maybe you could take it.
I would love to.
Travis is applying right now.
I would love to. I'll walk you through all the storyboards.
I know. You can
it.
talk about it all night, but let us know, folks. Let us know if you enjoyed this episode. Definitely a different episode for us, but I feel like it had to happen at some point or another. So we hope you enjoyed it. Give us your Batman movie rankings. Tell us what we missed. Tell us the characters we skipped over. Tell us your nostalgic memories. What's your favorite Batman movie? Why is it your favorite Batman movie? What's your least favorite? Why is it your least favorite? What are your favorite toys? What are some of the memories that are ingrained with you? Because you heard us share these personal stories. Another reason why I wanted to do this, because there's so many personal stories attached to these films. And I'm thinking for a lot of you out there in the PSK, you probably have that too. So hit us up. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Talking Taker. We would love to hear those stories from you. Leave us a comment. Leave us a comment on YouTube here. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure you subscribe. Leave a 5-star rating. Like the video. Do all the great things that you can to help us out. Another great way you can help us out. I am so sad it did not come in time, but I will be wearing it on our next episode.
I got one too.
You got one. All right.
Yeah.
And hope all
Ship
you listeners
today.
got one. T-Public now has Talking Taker hats, baby.
Yes, boy.
That's right. You can get a little dad hat, or you
Gang,
can get a trucker hat with any of our logos, any of our designs on there. Did you get like what style did you get, Travis?
I got a trucker hat. I think I got the
Absolutely.
just take her easy on it. So
Take
I
her
think so.
easy on the trucker hat. Come on, that just screams trucker hat, doesn't it? That is going to be the look for the summer. Head over there to tpublic.com into the Talking Taker store. We'll leave a link right here in the show notes, along with the link to the Cappy as well. So hit up those links and support our sponsors, support us, rock out that Talking Taker hat. We will be modeling them on next month's episode. And dude, I'm going to be modeling mine at the SummerSlam next month. I was not going to go, but plans have changed, pal. And
We're live, pal.
Tommy on the spot had an extra ticket. His wife had to drop out, and so he asked me, because I got to see him in New York a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he said, brother, do you want to come make it a three-peat for the SummerSlam? And I said, I got to do it. Been called into duty. So we're going to run it back. Me, Tommy, and Randy, who already had his tickets as well, and Uncle Dave from last year. We're working out the kinks, working out the plans, because they had already been making their plans. So we're trying to connect with each other and make it all work. But I'm excited to say year number 3, we'll be going to the SummerSlam. Yeah, man, you started it. I wish you were coming to this one. I know you have reasons why you can't make it to this one as well. But it'd be fun if we could. But it will be a blast.
Hey, we might travel up to Indiana and say Royal Rumble or something. So
we've been planting those seeds as well. So to celebrate SummerSlam next month, I thought, Travis, let's really get back to Undertaker. You know, we kind of have done a lot of surrounding
ancillary
Calloway ancillary things. Let's do a classic Undertaker match next month. It's an SummerSlam anniversary. We'll go back, if you can believe this, 25 years to 1999. A match you had in your top 20. It did not make my top 20, but sort of an underrated hidden gem match. Undertaker
tag match
and the Big Show against Kane and X-Pac for the Tag Team Championships. SummerSlam 99.
Go.
Let's see if it holds up in the top 20.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun match. Doesn't get talked about enough. A fun match to revisit here.
Yeah.
Fun era for The Undertaker. And, of course, fun era for wrestling 25 years ago. It's so bizarre to say that about the year 1999. But we will watch that along. It's not very long, so I thought we could also do what we've done because August is our anniversary month. Last few years, we've done a little PSK Q&A on our anniversary episode. So we will throw that up closer to the time of the episode. You can ask us anything. We'll do a Q&A. You can ask us more superhero questions. You can ask Travis Transformers questions because he's got as much knowledge on that as he does the Batman movies, or Pirates of the Caribbean questions. You can ask him that.
Star Wars.
Nope. No one wants to hear that. They want to hear the other thing. You can ask us Gravedigger questions. Let's hear some music questions, Undertaker questions, wrestling questions. Ask us anything. You guys usually come through with some fun stuff to talk about. So we'll do that next month as well. And let us know. Give us some ideas, man. I'm not saying we're running out of ideas, but I'm always open to some new ideas. We've dug really deep into this character and into this show, so always am open to hearing what you guys want to hear, because it's for you. It's for you, Creatures of the Night. We do this for you, so we want to hear your ideas of things we can explore, whether it's matches, whether it's topics or concepts. Please, please, please let us know. And I mentioned Tommy. Hit up his YouTube channel. He's doing great stuff over there, Watching Along Wrestling. He's done a couple of these the past few months that I really enjoyed. He has been looking at like the B show pay-per-views, and he's watched every main event of those shows, and he's been ranking those. So he did King of the Ring last month, and he ranked every King of the Ring main event, which,
Neat.
the main event is not always what you remember about these shows. So there's some interesting main event matches in there. He did it for Backlash. That was really interesting. I know he's going to be doing a Money in the Bank one, I'm sure. So it's fun. You always think of those ladder matches. You don't always think of the main events. I probably couldn't tell you what a lot of the main events for Money in the Banks were, besides, Cena and Punk. That's the one everybody remembers. But hit him up. Check him out. Our boys, Mike and JV at the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, we always want to shout them out. You can subscribe to them and hear about their journey through the career of Stone
Cat Dad
Steve Austin. Cat Daddy.
Cat Dad, dude, I love it.
Stone Cold's killed it on Instagram.
Pacho. Dude, he's ultimate cat dad, dude. I love it. Mark Calloway is a YouTuber, and and Stone Cold.
What is happening?
Is cat dad.
What is this world we're living in, man?
I don't know, dude.
Unbelievable. And be sure to subscribe to Travis's YouTube channel and his Instagram as well, at Travis White Music, for updates on his musical journey.
Today, July 1st?
Yes.
Tomorrow night, I'll be in the studio.
Hey-o! Breaking news.
I haven't told anybody except for my wife and children. They don't
Well,
know that, so.
Now the Pod Street crew knows. So now we get something to look forward to. So subscribe to get all the latest updates on that. And, man, that's all I got.
Very proud of what I'm about to put out, hopefully. So
very cool.
The most meaningful stuff I've ever written, in my opinion. So we'll see. It might not mean anything to anybody, but I don't care. It means a lot to me. So, hey,
it may not be the bat dance, but I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I tell you what. One more last parallel. Tell me, you Creatures of the Night can write this in for our Ask Me Anything or whatever next month if you want to. Who has a more iconic rogues gallery in all of comic books than the Batman? I mean, seriously, he has the most iconic ones. I think that's one reason he's so evergreen. You can just constantly do stuff with it, because just all the rogues gallery is just they're just top notch, man. There are some duds.
There's the Undertaker,
which is like a Hayden Vanson for our Undertaker. But I'm saying, like, so who else when it comes to the rogues gallery in WWE, who has a better rogues gallery than the Undertaker? Nobody. Because he's been there for so long and he's fought everybody and he's had iconic matches from the top to the bottom. So I do think that's my last parallel. We'll marry those two characters together. I don't think anybody has a better rogues gallery in WWE or in comic books. So, that being said, keep your ears open for some new music. I don't know when it's going to come out. I got to keep working on stuff, but we'll see. I'm going to go to the studio tomorrow night. So, we'll have fun with it. And, ask us anything next month. We can't wait to hear. What are your Batman memories? What are your Batman? What do we miss regarding Undertaker and Batman? So, and
just stay tuned. Same Taker time, same Taker channel.
Exactly. And happy 4th of July to you Americans out there. Have a good one. Wear your coat like the Undertaker had with the Betsy Ross flag in it. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.